150 Wi-Fi, which means your smart home is so smart. And now I'm sending these signals to your garage. All right, so we got Cooper in here. Once he gets all situated here, he's going to take the first period when this game's underway. Appreciate you guys following along on the Twitter Spaces and the YouTube side, as we've already had some anticipation here. Is brought to you by Xfinity. Power your home team with gig-speed internet from Xfinity. By Continental Law. Insurance companies say they won't pay, so they get paid and get paid. What's going on, my friend?
John, we got ourselves situated on the Twitter side. I had to press a few buttons, tap the screen a few times to get myself all locked and loaded. But it's good to hear your voice, sir. And we got ourselves another marquee matchup in the National Hockey League tonight, don't we?
Yes, we do. If you asked me a week ago as far as where the Red Wings would be in the standings, I think I told you last week they were close to a top 10 spot. And now all of a sudden they're 4 points away from a playoff spot. So I think I'm going to have to change my tune tonight as far as the importance.
Well, you know what? I have no doubt that those players, sitting on the benches right now as the national anthems are being sung here in Calgary, I bet they are feeling the very same thing that you are, and that's probably a little bit of excitement. I think they realize there's an opportunity here. This is a Flames team they beat just last week in a really nice contest, closely contested, as we see a beautiful shot of the skyline of Calgary here. I got the Sportsnet feeds, the Canadian feed on my side, but John, I think the important thing here is that I have to report back that Sirius XM, I was listening to some of the morning shows this morning, and their talent is starting to push their chips in, all in favor of the Red Wings. I heard so much is being said that if the Wings get a win tonight, that a lot of those folks on Sirius XM, NHL Network coverage there, they're believing that the Wings could not only contend for a spot, but actually get a playoff spot.
That's going to change a lot of things then as far as the Wings forecasting, as far as players that'll be there. As we talked about, we had a little bit in our Instagram part of it that Oli Maata got a 2-year deal, so $3 million per year. And that's going to change a lot of things as far as who gets moved at the deadline, if that's the belief.
Yep, and there was definitely some discussion about Dylan Larkin and what he has done, certainly since the All-Star break, and how he's really been on fire, no pun intended. But we'll see as we look at a literal C at the middle of the ice here at the Scotiabank Saddledome what happens tonight between these Red Wings and Flames. And we are underway 10 seconds in here as the Flames win the opening draw, moving right to left on your radio dial, wearing their classic red home uniforms. They're playing the Detroit Red Wings with the winged wheel on their visiting white and red jersey. So Dillon Dube is going to be a player to watch tonight, and that's listed by the team themselves. He is not out on the ice right now, but Elias Lindholm is, and now he picks up the puck at the blue line, tries to step into the offensive zone, but has bounced off the puck right there, and the Wings will chip down for a change. So one big thing we have to talk about tonight, John, another player who is not currently on the ice but will be soon, is Rasmus Andersson of the Flames. Now here's a turnover in the Flames' end. Larkin picks it up, tries to go backhand, but he's pushed down by Huberdeau. Could have been a cross-check right there, but no call is made, no whistle. So we will continue play here. But Rasmus Andersson is back after being injured, riding a scooter in Detroit. We talked about this in the last game that we covered, and we take a peek here after an icing call of Dylan Larkin with his left hand up near his ear. Looks like he caught some of the stick shaft to Jonathan Huberdeau right there. He seems to be feeling it, John.
Well, I see him walking into the players' benches. Yeah, he got cross-checked right into the left ear. He took a big shot. So hopefully for Red Wings fans, they can breathe a sigh of relief and see Larkin come back onto the ice soon. My goodness.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe he was cut right there. He seemed to have all of his wits about him, but had to go back into the room with the trainer, apparently. So just over a minute gone here. The Flames have their first line out. Nazem Kadri, one of the 220 goal scorers on the Flames here, tries to stick handle around one of the Wings defenders, but the puck is lost and slides all the way back to neutral ice. Jonathan Huberdeau does what he's loved to do best this season, make a questionable backhand pass. That one goes to the far side, and 90 seconds have elapsed here in our opening period. Blake Coleman, Stanley Cup winner, is going to send this one in off the glass. That is now in the far corner, being battled for, but the Wings will pick it up. And here comes Detroit. Detroit now through the neutral zone. Sends it into the near corner. Nikita Zadorov will pick up for the Flames and chip forward now to Andrew Mangiapane, but he is immediately dispossessed. Nice job right there by Detroit of keeping the puck in their offensive zone. An odd bounce right there past Flames starter Dan Vladar. The puck went back to the point. He had to fight off a slap shot right there. So that should be the first shot of the game, and it is. It's up on the board right now with 17:50 to go here in first. Now Nikita Zadorov still out on the ice. Kind of a long shift for the big defenseman from Calgary. He's going to move this one in like he's a forward and looks for that 45-degree angle pass to Mangiapane where it's picked up. And here comes Zadorov, receives the return pass. Now Mikael Backlund out in front. Here's a shot from the high slot. Mangiapane now tries to find a rebound. The Wings goaltender is down in net. And John, I want to get a confirmation from you right there. I couldn't see the number for our starter. Is that Billy Russo starting tonight for the Wings?
Magnus Hellberg starting off the back-to-back.
Thank you very much. Wanted to get that clarification. So that was Hellberg fighting in his own crease just to find the puck. He ended up on his backside, but no damage here. We're still tied at 0. No score in this hockey game. LaLonde tried now, chips it forward. And Trevor Lewis will send it down to Hellberg. Hellberg takes that big paddle and continues the puck's momentum around the far corner. Nice job by Milan Lucic on the forecheck right there. And Brett Ritchie fighting for the puck as well, but this one will be flipped out just underneath the scoreboard here at the Saddle Dome, and it's going to be picked up by Lindholm. 1-on-3, Lindholm fires a quick wrister, and Hellberg has to make his first legitimate save of the night, and that is the Flames' first shot. Took about 3 minutes and 15 seconds for it to happen, but there it is. So one shot apiece, and streaking in right now are the Wings. Here's a shot that goes off of Rasmus Andersson's stick. So the first time we see the Swedish defenseman back after missing 3 games due to that injury. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more, but he looks pretty fleet of foot right now, John, as do the Flames. A good start to this game, a couple of chances for both squads, and the Flames come in just offside. That's Nazem Kadri, who couldn't keep a skate on the blue line, so the play has been whistled down.
I know we talk about Larkin, and for good reason. He is back out on the ice now. I want to see what kind of energy the Wings have from the 5-4 shootout win against Edmonton last night as this goes along.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a win that you messaged about, and Edmonton does pick up a point there. We're going to definitely talk about the standings. The Flames actually come into this game technically in the wild card 2 spot, but that could definitely change it. Now Jonathan Huberdeau looks like he's getting a little flack from Kubalik, and I'm not surprised. Huberdeau put that stick of his into the ear of the captain of the Red Wings, sent him to the room. I have not seen Larkin back on the ice yet, but Kubalik has taken an issue with that.
Yeah, he is skating around. I see him on the players' bench now. Kubalik was a healthy scratch in last game, so we'll see what he does in this one against Calgary at the Saddle Dome.
Yes, indeed, and it's worth noting. So we have Hellberg in net, as John pointed out. We also have Dan Vladar in net, who is ostensibly the Flames' backup goaltender, but he has arguably been the better of the two when looking at Markstrom and Vladar. And Darryl Sutter had some comments about both goaltenders, and I think he's trying to motivate using an interesting tactic, one he's not afraid to use, John. He said, quote, "Both of our goalies have been streaky this year," unquote. So a little bit of a call-out of the entire goalie room right there.
Yeah, it has. I heard that quote a little bit, and I'm kind of thinking that maybe Vladar and Markstrom might get somewhat of a 50-50 split for the rest of the year, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, we definitely will, and it's going to be a big game here as the puck bounces right in front. Nazem Kadri won the faceoff. He gets toppled over in between the faceoff circles, but the Flames are really pushing right now, making a good effort to keep the puck down low near the crease, trying to create shot opportunities, which they're so good at. One of the best teams in the NHL, although they are a bit average when it comes to creating high danger chances. Now, here's Jacob Pelche. Going to drop this one off for Kadri. Pelche battling for the puck, but it's basically 1-on-4 right there as all of his teammates are back at center ice. So the puck will be floated back down where Nikita Zadorov picks up. Nice deft backhand pass right there to Chris Tanev. And eventually Mikael Backlund picks up the puck. So here comes Backlund's line, one of the best the Flames have had all year. Backlund's having an absolutely resurgent season, just excellent play. John, you and I have both witnessed that, so we'll keep an eye on number 11 in red as Blake Coleman sends it down to that very man right there, number 11 in red, Mikael Backlund. He keeps possession down low. Now here's Andrew Mangiapane looking for a pass, turns on a dime, but but he's going to be dispossessed right there. Good job by the Wings defense to stay fundamental and defensive there. They will pick up possession, chip this one off the glass, and it bounces off the back of Joe Veleno. So he was unable to get the puck down to his stick play. That allows Chris Tanev to take over for Calgary. Calgary going to skate this one forward. Mangiapane tries to chip it down, but here comes Detroit. They're going to skate this one 1-on-4. That's number 52, Jonathan Berggren, and now the puck is in the far corner. So not a lot of action for Dan Vladar so far, John. That's somebody we were just talking about. And here come the Flames the other way. Noah Hannafin pushes the puck forward for Milan Lucic. He's going to leave it right there for Trevor Lewis. Lewis is going to look to go back to the point. He does so successfully, and Hannafin floats one that could have easily been deflected, but Milan Lucic's stick gets tied up. Nice defense right there by Jake Wallman. And here comes Hannafin again. Boy, Hannafin has the green light from the blue line, that's for sure. He's put several toward the net right there, but nothing of consequence has come of that. 6 minutes gone now in the first period. John Ott is with me. John's going to cover analysis for us in periods 1 and 3, and my name's Cooper Hopkins, covering the play-by-play in periods 1 and 3 as well. So Detroit takes over right here in their own end. It's left in the trapezoid behind Helberg. The Wings try to send this one out on an angle, and it will eventually get down to Robbie Fabry. And John, I want to talk about Fabry's impact. You obviously are paying attention to the Wings on a daily basis. And of course, he had some injury issues, but has been back in the lineup now consistently as the Flames have the puck in the offensive zone. And out on the ice is Dillon Dube for the Flames. He has 6 points in the last 3 games. So there's the reason why he was a player to watch as listed by the Flames organization itself. Just keeping the puck on side is Calgary right there. They now have it behind Helberg. Toffoli in the near corner. It's going to give it to Zadorov. Zadorov, as we see sometimes, comes down from the point and basically plays like a forward, takes over that spot. And had it in the near corner as Helberg has to fight a shot through traffic. That one bounced off of the logo, the crest on his jersey, and he has turned another one aside. That's actually just the second shot for the Flames, only the third shot of the game, and we're almost 8 minutes into this thing. Now it's a partial 3-on-2. Pelche going to drop it off, and a glove save made by Helberg. Number 45. Give him 100. Rounded up by 55, John. That's Huberdeau getting stoned by the Wings goaltender.
The best chance of the game so far, just 3 shots to 1. It kind of feels like the same start it was last week, but that was a save that was badly needed. Going into this, I know we talked about it last week, Cooper, as far as the propensity for the Flames to get a win. You got the Red Wings off a back-to-back with the backup goaltender in net. I said it was 2 points they needed to get last week. I expect them to do it tonight.
Yeah, you know what? The way they've played, I like the defensive responsibility. That's something I tried to touch on there when, I think it was Andrew Mangiapane was on the puck, and he had some jump right there. Really looked sharp and made a nice cut in the far corner. But the Wings stayed home. They didn't get drawn to the puck or drawn out of position, and were able to keep things sound and keep the Flames off the score sheet. And when you have Helberg, I mean, listen, that's one save in a long hockey game, and we're still just underway here. But if he's going to have a performance like that, it just seems to be what the Flames have run into this year. Backup goaltenders against the Ottawa Senators, literally. A goaltender getting his NHL debut, for whatever reason, they just seem to bring the best out of their opponent's netminders, and they have trouble getting the puck in the back of the net.
Well, I'm glad I didn't text you on that night because I thought about it, but I was too busy pulling what hair I have left out when I watched that game between the Flames and the Sens.
Yeah, that's a tough one. 3 minutes to go, you're up 3-1. You basically dominated the entire run of play and done what you should do against the Ottawa Senators. I mean, this isn't the Ottawa Senators of a couple of years ago that are, absolutely Swiss cheese. You can get anything through. They're starting to build something there. And, of course, Brady Tkachuk is a big presence. He and Stützle did an excellent job in that contest. But they were really the only notable players for Ottawa. And then, of course, they had come back and shockingly win that game. So the Flames just seem to be up against it all year long, my friend.
Yeah, we'll have to see again. This is another one of those games that you mark on the calendar. You talk about Mikael Backlund, 10 goals, 23 assists, 33 points plus 16. Best on the Flames right now. We've called his name a lot because he's been very good.
Yes, indeed. He's earned the attention, that's for sure, as we get the highlight package there of the intense physicality from the last contest between these teams. Now here comes Nazem Kadri in the offensive zone. There's a slap shot attempt. That's by Huberdeau. Huberdeau now throws the body and actually knocks over one of the Wings. Couldn't get a number there. He throws the body again. So back-to-back checks right there from Jonathan Huberdeau. I guess he's just going to turn into a fourth-line grinder for the Flames, apparently. But here comes Detroit the other way. Had a nice entry right there, but the puck bounces not so fortuitously for the visitors, and it will be taken over by Noah Hannafin of the Flames. So 8 minutes gone now in the first period. 3 shots for Calgary, just the 1 for Detroit. That's another thing we have to keep an eye on, John. The Flames are great at suppressing shots. That's what they did against Ottawa. But boy, when teams do get opportunities, they seem to go in. So there's a deflection right up in front. Hellberg had to get back in position quickly, and he paddled that puck aside to his right. Now it's picked up by Coleman, who has some speed. Coleman at the far wall. Going to backhand this one along. It's held by the Flames right there. But good defense. Excellent job by Maata. He's had a nice game so far, and we're going to talk about his recent contract extension. And the only thing to mention right now is the play's been whistled dead due to an icing. So we'll get a quick break, but I don't think immediate timeout, John. Maata, let's just keep it simple. Do you like the extension that he got with the Wings?
Absolutely. It's just 2 years at $3 million per. He's been absolutely solid. He can be a second-line defenseman, no problem. He's been great this year.
Yeah, he's really reliable. I think a name that we always talk about players that would be, of interest to many other teams in the league. I think a lot of teams would love to have Maata, especially the Flames, even with the absence of Oliver Shillington, who seems to be out for the remainder of the year, but that hasn't been confirmed. The defense, especially the second and third pairings for the Flames, have been a bit of a mix-up this year. So the Flames now have on the O-zone, and there's a quick shot by Calgary. That one is turned aside, so Hellberg has been very sound so far, as there are now should be 4 shots for the Flames, and again, just the 1 for Detroit. So the physicality picking up a bit as well, as the Flames have the puck at the right point. It bounces off the end boards. Now it's held, and looking for the pass right there was Lindholm. I thought he might try a wraparound attempt. Larkin mixes up with Lindholm. He put Lindholm on his back. No call there, just a bit of physicality between both players. And 10:45 to go here in the first. So, John, a lot of checking going on now. I guess we shouldn't be too shocked after the way things went a week ago.
No, absolutely not.
And now here comes Mackenzie Weegar. He'll skate this one right through the flaming sea at center ice. And he will quickly send that puck down behind Hellberg. Looking for it right there is Brett Ritchie. And this one's backhanded along by Jonathan Berggren. So this will all go all the way down. Could be another icing here, but icing is waved off. It must have deflected somebody off of somebody in the neutral zone. Excuse me. And now here come the Flames back to the offensive end. Ritchie doing a nice job on the forecheck right there. It's going to come away with the puck. It's loose in front. I thought Lucic would have had a shot at a backhand, but he couldn't corral it and get a shot off at all. So nice job right there on the forecheck. And Lucic stays out. He's definitely throwing the body around and pushes Moritz Seider into the glass. But the Wings will come away with this puck, but couldn't connect to pass. So the Flames, who've had most of the possession, have it now. And Jonathan Huberdeau misses a grade A opportunity. Johnny finally shoots when he should shoot, and he put that one just over the top of the bar. I think Hellberg was beaten on that one. Huberdeau was just a bit off target. So right there probably could or should have been 1-0 Calgary on a small, I would say a partial breakaway for Huberdeau. But now here comes Detroit up the far wall. Right there, battling for the puck against Nikita Zadorov. Sorry, that's going to be taken over by Chris Tanev. Zadorov was initially in on the play. Now Kadri has the puck. He comes through the neutral zone, floats this one to Hellberg. That kind of ties him up. He'll make a save. Play is whistled down. Flames might have been offside, but either way, we're going to get another look at this Huberdeau shot right here, John.
I want to mention a couple things as we go to commercial break. That one just rang off the right side of the pipe. When I said it last week about Jonathan Huberdeau, you have a Florida Panther in the Atlantic Division. You meet 4 times. Maybe there was something that was said in the locker room. You know, these guys are going to be tired. You make that push. You're familiar with this team. Go out and dominate. We just seen him throw the body, and that shot rang off the post, and that looked good there. The one thing I will say, and I'm not saying it in a disparaging way for Calgary fans, but Calgary might be the exact type of team that Detroit needs to play right now off the back-to-back. Because, yes, they can get 4 or 5 goals, but they're not going to explode all the way down the ice and just score and rattle them off within minutes at a time. We've seen this as a game that's been chippy again with a low amount of shot totals, and Detroit's just trying to hang in there right now, not make any mistakes, but I haven't even really seen them been able to connect a pass so far.
Yeah, that's something that, I noticed as well. It looks like they're doing a decent job. Again, this is something we talked about during the last commercial break. Doing a decent job of staying defensively responsible, but then it's really making that breakout look, I want to be polite here, though. I want to make it look competent. I think we'll pick that word, Sean. They've had trouble connecting passes out of their own end into the neutral zone. They've tried to carry in puck on stick several times, but the Flames have also been defensively sound with at least 2 men back, if not 3 sometimes, to turn away any offensive effort. So Yeah, this is an interesting one. This could be another 2-1 game like we had last week with Detroit coming out ahead.
Yeah, it is. And then maybe there'll be a couple games that we'll take a live look in that start at 10, because there's a couple of them that have some impact in the Pacific, and between the Golden Knights and the Kraken that will also be in action. So as far as everything else in the East, maybe not so much for the Red Wings, but speaking of the Kraken, they will play them at 10:30 Eastern on Saturday and hopefully get Lucas Raymond back. And Jakub Vrana may draw into the lineup as he's back from the Players Assistance Program.
Yeah, that's great news. Want to always have players available whenever possible, especially those that need some additional assistance. Glad that he's feeling well enough to get in the lineup and contribute to his team. And we are back under the action, as John Ott likes to say, and the Flames win another face-off. And they're doing a great job. I can't wait to see those possession numbers. This first period has been a good one in that respect for the home team. But here comes Detroit the other way. And here's another example of a pass not connecting, as Rasmus Andersson doing a good job battling behind Dan Vladar. He's there with Noah Hannafin. Multiple Red Wings fighting for the puck as well. And the Red Wings will come away with this. So nice job right there in the trapezoid as a bouncing puck is lost up into the netting, I believe. Dan Vladar couldn't find it. I couldn't find it momentarily, but it bounces back down onto the ice surface. And we'll have a face-off.
There is one milestone that can happen for the Red Wings tonight. David Perron's got to get 1 point. He's at 599, looking for .600 tonight.
Oh, that's a big one. I'm actually, you know what, even though I'm a Flames fan, I'm kind of rooting to see that. It's always exciting when you hit those big numbers with double zeros like that. And Perron's had such a great career. Just a tough hockey player, and still has lots of skill as well.
Absolutely. As we're going to get another face-off, I know Cooper's a little bit ahead of me as I got the Bally Sports Detroit feed. He's got Sportsnet tonight.
So the tables have turned. Normally I'm about 5 seconds behind John, and when we were covering some IIHF action, I was about a minute behind. So we'll take it when we can get it. I'll take any delay. But right now we are back live, 8:26 to go here in the first. Again, just 3 shots for the Flames, 1 for Detroit. It's been a physical game. The Flames have had the run of the play here so far. They have it in the offensive zone. It's held in by Dillon Dube. He's on the backhand, turns back right there, and he's checked briefly. The puck bounces off his stick awkwardly. He can't connect his pass back to Michael Stone. So here come the Detroit Red Wings, and stepping through with a backhand shot is Filip Hronek, and Dan Vladar was looking behind him, John. Boy, that's the best chance of the game right there for Detroit. I thought that went 5-hole, but somehow we're still scoreless. So inside 8 minutes to go now, 4 shots from the Flames as Jonathan Huberdeau's dumped down to the ice right there. Good job by Calgary. They did an excellent job of keeping the ozone at the blue line. So credit to the defenders for those wearing the flaming C. And now here comes Moritz Seider, the German defenseman. Sends this one cross ice. Going to be picked up by Tanev. Nice job by Mackenzie Weegar right there to stretch and accept that pass in his own end. Could have been a bad turnover, which we've seen happen several times this year for the Flames in their own end. So little bit of a dodged bullet right there. And Mackenzie Weegar's still out on the ice. He's chasing down a puck, but Tanev, his pairing mate, will get to it. Although the puck is turned over, picked up by Pelche, though. Jakub Pelche. He will have the puck at center ice. It's spot forward right there by Brett Ritchie, and an offside call. Looks like Pelche came in before the puck. So 7:08 to go in the first here. No score, John. Face-off coming up.
I know we have a little bit left to go, as Cooper said in this first period, but I want to take this 5 seconds and say that Jonathan Huberdeau has had one of his most noticeable games this season. I like the way he's played.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was just something he decided ahead of time. Hopefully someone in the media there in Calgary will ask him. It looks like he made it a point to get physical against the, I would say, not even arguably, probably the Wings' best player in Dylan Larkin. And a bit of a questionable hit up high, but Larkin was going down low. And anyway, my point is, Huberdeau had to kind of turn on the physical part of his game in order to get the skill game going. If he has to do that, so be it. As an icing right there, bounces just past the cage, and Dan Vladar watches this puck slide by and goes in the air, and the faceoff will come down in the Flames' offensive zone.
So I know you have the home ice advantage so far on the call, but your first period feels like my first period last week, and maybe I'll get the goals in the second period.
I think it would only be fair right there as we get a shot of the Red Wings player bench and head coach LaLonde right there. He's done a good job with his squad. 25 wins so far this year, and again, I just want to reiterate what I was listening to on Sirius XM this morning. I think a lot of folks, pundits in the NHL arena, they are looking at the Wings as a potential team to spoil someone's trip to the playoffs by taking a spot for themselves. So under 7 minutes to go now here in the first period. It's Cooper Hopkins on play-by-play for the time being with John Ott, peppering in some of his wise commentary as always. Australia right there does a nice job on Ritchie, puts Ritchie down on his knees, but Ritchie's able to get the puck back to Hanifin, who tries to fire a slapper, hit a leg about halfway to the goal. So no official shot on right there, and here come the Wings the other way. They hold the puck near the players' benches where it's sent in. And chasing down right there is Noah Hanifin. Hanifin did a good job as a couple of players go down in the far corner. I think one of those was Ritchie. But the Flames will come away with this, and now Noah Hanifin will chip this one along. It's left in the near corner, try to be picked up by Coleman, but Blake Coleman can't come away with it. So skating away with the puck right there is Jonathan Berggren. The Flames again, John, this is a theme in the first period here. The Flames have done a good job at holding the blue line and keeping the puck in flow. They get it high to low very efficiently. I'm going to keep an eye on that one as the shot attempt is deflected off of the skate. And Dan Vladar has no worries right there as the puck's in the corner to his left. He hugs the post, and there's a nice outlet pass by Calgary. So they're going to skate this one forward and then dump in from the red line. Picked up by Hilbert. Hilbert tries to send this one around, and Blake Coleman's back out. And he keeps the puck in down low. Here comes Andrew Mangiapane. First time I've said his name in a while. He's battling against two Detroit Red Wings down in the near corner, and the Flames will come away with this. The puck just kind of slides to Coleman. He'll get it back to the blue line, and the bouncing puck has to be turned aside by Hilbert. He flicks out the right skate. And boy, that thing wasn't moving 90 miles an hour. But John, that was bouncing toward the net, and Hilbert kept it out with the right pad. Nice stop right there.
I know this isn't an exaggeration as we go to commercial break, but I feel like those shots that are bouncing back out for Hilbert have even fell right to the left face-off dot or the right face-off dot. So we'll see if those rebound controls is something Calgary could pick up on, because I think they might be able to stuff home a rebound.
Yeah, some offensive positioning right there could be a big key for the Flames, and they're going to have opportunities to do that. I mean, John, listen, this has not always been the case for this Calgary team, but they are doing a really solid job of just keeping possession. I mean, it's just basic hockey, right? The defensive team is trying to get clear out, and the Flames find a way to get in the way of those outlet passes and then send the puck back down low for more opportunities.
Yep. I know our favorite betting man, Grayson, on the YouTube side, he asks, is this John's favorite team against Cooper's favorite team? You can just say yes with an exclamation point. This will be our final broadcast of the regular season. Unless these two teams met in the Stanley Cup Finals, this will be the last time we get to do this.
Yeah, that's true. And of course, the final broadcast between these two squads.
Yeah.
You and I are going to team up as often as possible, certainly as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. But I mean, now that we have this break, John, I just want to ask you, one of the other games that we're going to be looking at is, and this is my own bias too, being a Seattle kid originally, the Kraken have cooled off since the All-Star break, and they're playing the biggest Golden Knights, who are no slouch by any stretch. Do you think the Kraken have to come away with a win tonight? Because if they don't, do the alarm bells start going off for Seattle?
So I'm just going to throw out a slight correction. Yes, the Golden Knights and Kraken are underway. The Kraken will be playing the Flyers, so we do expect them to get that win. And if they don't, there will be some alarm bells.
Right. Yes. Excuse me. That's my fault. And then we do have this very Red Wings team taking on the Kraken a couple nights from now. Yeah. So depending on the outcome of this game, and especially the Kraken's game against the Flyers, I mean, this could be a huge in a couple of nights, something we might want to keep our eye on, because the Wings are right there, John. I mean, like you said, they're just a few points away now from really contending. So we'll talk more about that right now. We have 5 minutes and 15 seconds to go here in the first, and the play will be whistled 10 immediately just as we get back underway. Offside against Detroit, so a face-off comes in the neutral zone.
Yeah, for all the teams that are up in front of Detroit has 3 games in hand of like Washington and Florida and teams like that. So big time to get some points, and just like for Seattle, big time for them to get some points. You got to beat the Flyers tonight.
Yes, indeed. So a couple of the top players for both squads here is we have Elias Lindholm and Dylan Larkin. We'll scratch that. Elias Lindholm gets waved out of the face-off circle. This will be taken by Dillon Dube. So Dillon Dube against Detroit's captain in the face-off circle. Dube wins that one nicely. So, he does win the face-off, but the puck bounces off the half-boards right to Detroit. And there's Lindholm throwing a body into the back of Seider. Pass goes from Bertuzzi off to the far corner, and this one will be taken in the neutral zone. It's slid forward right there. It's going to be 2 Red Wings on 1 Flames defenseman, who is Mackenzie Weegar. And we have a delayed penalty coming up here, John. I just saw that on the Sportsnet feed. So play's been whistled down. Are you seeing what this penalty is? I think it's against Calgary.
I think it may be, as Darryl Sutter is having some words, so that's where I'm assuming it's going to go, Cooper.
Yeah, I know you have the delay there, so I don't need to put you on the spot, my friend. That's I'm seeing the man in the box now. It is Tyler Toffoli, and interestingly, that is the very, very first time that I am seeing his name tonight. Hasn't been particularly noticeable, but he gets called for the slash at 15:07. So 2 minutes for slashing to Tyler Toffoli. We have our first man advantage of the game, John, and make that a double minor, my friend. 4 minutes up on the board for Detroit. This could change the tide of this game very quickly. I think we may have an error there. It's on the Sportsnet feed that
minor
counter on the clock seems to be inaccurate. So right there in front is a goal out of nowhere, and it's shorthanded. Whether there's 4 or 2 on the clock, it doesn't matter, John. It's 1-0 Flames thanks to Elias Lindholm.
Well, for all the puck possession that Calgary has had, you would think they're probably going to be on the board first. This is just something off of a clear in the offensive end that the Red Wings couldn't get puck possession on. The puck goes all the way back to Hellberg. He tries to play it. He flubs it in front of Backlund, and that's what started it all. And then Lindholm, back from Backlund, puts it right back in the net. So if you're a goaltender, you got to make sure you make that clean pass or at least wrap it around the boards. Hellberg, I think, shot the Red Wings in the foot there.
Yeah, unfortunately, not the best play from Hellberg. I'm sure he wants that one back. But, boy, Mikael Backlund just doing those little things. He wasn't even really charging the blue paint. He just put some average pressure on Hellberg, caused the flub right there, was able to get the pass down low, and Lindholm was in the opportunistic spot as a shot goes off the crossbar, John. I think that was Larkin. I'm pretty sure he had Vladar beat, but he can't get it to the back of the net. Could have been 1-1 right there.
I appreciate the enthusiasm because I heard the echo from wherever you're broadcasting from.
My goodness, what a shot right there. And Larkin looks so sharp. That boy, we've seen that several times this season. That goes right off where the crossbar and the post meet, and Vladar was beaten on that attempt, but luckily for the Flames, it goes up and off the metal. So right now it's 1-0 Calgary thanks to Elias Lindholm, but don't forget Detroit is on the man advantage right here, and we'll get some clarification. Not sure if it's double minor to Tyler Toffoli or just the standard 2-minute minor. So Rasmus Andersson, back from injury right there, battles for the puck down low, and it gets all the way to Vladar. That's kind of like what we've seen from the Flames, just getting pucks into the high danger areas, and Vladar has to dive forward and covers up with a big glove.
It's just a 2-minute minor.
Oh, great. Thank you for, I think on the Sportsnet side, I know you have the different feed in Detroit there, and they had some issues with the timer up on the score chyron. So 1:11 to go here in the power play, and a shorthanded goal already in for the Flames. 4 minutes to go in the first period. 6 shots Calgary, 4 shots Detroit. Nice clean face-off went right there, and the puck is loose. The slapper came from way out. That was number 81, Dominik Kubalik. Nice shot right there, but here come the Flames the other way, and they will opt not to drive this one in from center ice. They'll just chip down and kill some time, where it's picked up by Hronek. And he will leave right there, picked up by Copp. Now Copp skates through the neutral zone, dumps down one of the Flames right there. Can't get a number. I think that may be Mikael Backlund. Nope, make that Nikita Zadorov. So Copp put Zadorov on his rear end. And to top it all off, possession remains with Detroit. So they have it at the far corner. And from that left point, they'll chip it down low. Zadorov now has it. And he will gently send this one off the near boards and basically billiard ball that thing all the way down to Hellberg. So Hellberg had to cover it up momentarily, but he leaves it for his power play unit. 16 seconds to go here in that power play. Now, a pass is mishandled right here, and an opportunity for Calgary. Guess who it is? It's Mikael Backlund. He has it right there. Tries to Johnny Gaudreau that thing and take a sharp angled shot. Hellberg turns it aside with really no sweat at all, and with 1 second, 0 now on the clock, Tyler Toffoli will step back on the ice. Noah Hannafin looks for the puck down in the near corner, but we have another hand in the air, John, and I think potentially an offside call. Either way, play has stopped, and we'll have a face-off.
It was another missed pass as they tried to find Larkin near the left wing. He was on sides. This is a first period for Detroit that cannot end fast enough.
Yeah, I think you're right, and we can talk about this when we have the longer period to chat about things. But this does look like a team that's coming off of a game the night prior. You know, they had a very spirited game against Edmonton, which went into extra time, and it seems to have taken some effect here. So it is 1-0 Calgary, just 2 minutes and 35 seconds to go here in the first, as the puck slides all the way down to Dan Vladar's left, taken over by Calgary. And this pass gets all the way down to the other end of the ice, just misses Hellberg. So it's a rare icing in this first period against Calgary. Face-off to come down in the Flames' defensive end.
So it looks like 7 shots to 4 in favor of Calgary, as Backlund actually got a little bit of a slash there on Hellberg, as according to my replay, as the goal went in. That's interesting.
That is interesting. I did not get that same replay on my side, John, so we'll have to chat about that right there, but I'm glad you have another set of eyes. Well, you have several sets of eyes, more than I do. And right now the Flames are eyeing the puck in their own end, trying to get this thing out. And Chris Tanev battling harder for the puck right there, but Detroit's, they're putting some effort into this thing, and the puck is held in by Michael Rasmussen. And now it's at the near boards. Jacob Pelche looks for the puck right there. Nazem Kadri down low. He's battling against Sutter. And the Red Wings with some offensive zone time here, John. They're really doing a nice job of cycling the puck right there. And, of course, immediately as I say that, Chris Tanev will come away with it momentarily. Chris Tanev with it again. Now gets it to Huberdeau. So the Flames' first line out there right now, but Huberdeau is dispossessed. He now still battles for the puck. Boy, the puck has been in the Flames' end for about a minute. And finally, Calgary will be able to get it out. So even though not really any high-level shots or offensive chances right there, you have to tip your cap to the Wings for still putting that effort forward in a period that has not gone their way, keeping things in their O-zone. So less than 90 seconds to go now here in the first. It's a 1-0 game thanks to a shorthanded goal, the assist to Backlund, and the goal scored by Elias Lindholm on a deflection right out in front. So the Flames are at center ice now, but here comes Detroit. They're moving left to right, going to try to tie this thing up with 1:08 to go in the first. Tyler Toffoli back out on the ice now for the Flames, but battling in the corner is, oh my goodness, John, out of nowhere. I'm just trying to get a number on who's battling in the corner, and Michael Stonesby, I spoke it into existence, my friend. The Wings have tied this thing. It's 1-1.
Dominik Kubalik was a healthy scratch last week. You put him in the lineup, and look what happens. He gets open in the middle of the slot. Tyler Bertuzzi dug that puck out of the right boards, found Kubalik in between the circles, and knotted this game at 1. Wow, that was a goal that the Wings badly needed. They're playing their 6th game in 10 days.
Wow, so no wonder they've been a little slow, but boy, they sure picked up the pace right here. And I am taking a second look at this on the Sportsnet side. No wonder Michael Stone looked dejected. He went down to block that puck. The shot was initially going wide. It hits his glove, John, and deflects right back into the net over the pad of Dan Vladar. So, boy, terrible timing if you're a Flames fan. And the Flames have done this several times this year, giving up a goal late in a period when they have dominated. So it's a tie game thanks to Kubalik. And the Flames now, with a little extra jump right here, they're trying to get that lead back, but they're not going to be able to do so right now as the Wings have possession. It's dumped right there to Perron, and a huge blocker save. Boy, Vladar had to really react quickly. That one came on him in a hurry. So 28 seconds to go now, and here come the Flames right to left. Skating right here is Blake Coleman. Scratch that, make that Trevor Lewis, and his shot is right on. Saved easily by Hellberg. So just over 20 seconds to go here. And this tying goal seems to have changed the game, my friend.
Yeah, it's going to give a little bit of momentum here for the Red Wings going in the locker room, no doubt, to get a burst of energy. I hate to go back and blame the last goal on Hellberg, but you think about this could be a 1-0 situation for the Wings, or even maybe 2-0 for the Flames if that Huberdeau shot didn't hit the post.
That's true. Yeah, we have a Dylan Larkin attempt that went off the crossbar. So lots of chances here, especially in the latter 5 minutes of this first period. The puck did just momentarily go up into the stand, so we'll have another face-off in just a moment.
So now this is a game that is for anybody's taking again, just like it was in the first period last week where it was scoreless. We're going to go 1-1 into the first, most likely, with 15 seconds left.
Boy, I have to apologize to you. I didn't mean to botch that goal call right there. But, yeah, Kubalik did a great job to step in between the circles and fired home that wrister. So just a few seconds to go here as Weegar chases the puck down in his own end, and we will watch time expire with the puck behind Dan Vladar in the trapezoid. The referees will skate in, but no extracurriculars here as the first period has come to a close. John, it is a tied hockey game I think we're both a little surprised as to how the goals were scored. We got Shorty, and then one that just bounces out of the corner. It's dug out, like you said, and Kubalik finishes to make this thing 1-1 heading into our first break.
Yeah, it's a game that we've seen a lot in between Calgary as far as these games staying close, because I think you could talk about it, and we would see if they have the official numbers in front of the ESPN box score, but I would say at least maybe 2.5 to 1 as far as the puck possession is concerned for Calgary, and this game's tied after 1.
Yeah, it is. And, I think what I'm curious about right now, just if you can shed any further light. So Dominik Kubalik, the goal scorer for the Wings, I was not aware that he was a healthy scratch. And, listen, it's not like every time he's on the ice, he's torching his opponents. But, I mean, that was an excellent play right there and really a top-tier goal. It took a deflection. That's definitely true. But is there any reason why he was left out of the lineup? And do you think that motivated him to make a difference here tonight?
When I think about it last week when Filip Zadina ended up getting the game-winning goal, they wanted to get Zadina into the lineup last week. So that's what gave Kubalik the extra time off.
Gotcha. Now, thank you for jogging my memory there. That's right. We did talk about that. And, it seems the Red Wings currently have the Flames' number, even though Calgary looked good for most of the first period. Detroit just knows how to get under the skin of the Calgary Flames, and they make the most of just a few opportunities. I mean, you could count them on one hand at most. But that last one was the most important because that's the one that goes in and changes the game completely.
There's something that I want to talk about, okay, in this first intermission, because I've seen this a little bit from some of these Red Wings fans trying to shoo a little bit this 4-game win streak that's going on because they beat Calgary, Vancouver twice, and Edmonton. When we talked about being diplomatic with your chances and being opportunistic, they got a 2-1 win last week when we did this matchup. And then Detroit ended up getting 5 and 6 goals back-to-back against Vancouver and then a 5 against Edmonton. When we preached finishing last week, that's what Detroit's been able to do. So let's look at it honestly. This isn't being disparaging toward any team, but if there's points to be had on the board and you can finish and score more goals than the other team, you deserve to win the game. I don't care about who's in front of you on the schedule. You got to go out and win those games and take them. Some of these teams haven't done that throughout this year, and that's why they're sitting where they are in the standings.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, now, after we watched what we just watched at the end of that first period, I mean, I'm so curious. And listen, I have more, I've paid more attention to the Wings because of our friendship and our work together. I'm so curious to see if they can continue this little mini push. They seem to be building momentum, and it unfortunately is coming, in part at the Flames' expense. And the Flames on the other side, they can't seem to string more than a couple of wins together throughout this entire year, John. I mean, I think their longest winning streak is 3 games, and that just speaks to the difference between this roster makeup and the one from the year prior. I mean, I remember them having a 10-game win streak and trying to go for franchise records of win streaks, and Dan Vladar having a record-setting or record-tying point streak as a goaltender in the Flames organization. But all those things seem to be pretty far off the radar right now as they're just trying to, not be forced to overtime by the Ottawa Senators, by, not giving up these late goals and periods, not giving up opportunities to get 2 points. It just seems to be fundamental, and they are certainly struggling when it comes just to get W's.
Well, look, I can say the same thing for the Red Wings on that side of it. Right now, this 4-game win streak's the longest that they've had all year. And when you think about the Red Wings and their grand history and winning games at home, 16 in a row, 17 in a row, you can sit and look and laugh at it, but these teams are at different spots as far as where they should be, I would believe. But again, if you're right outside, or if you're Calgary, just like you are right now, sitting in the second wildcard spot, you still got about, a quarter of the season, a little bit more to still go. It's exactly where you want to be, but it's about being consistent. And that's what we talked about a little bit last week, but that's what these two teams need to be able to prove. I do think it does help because for where they are in the standings, it's going to force them to be able to play a great game and always be ready to go.
Yeah, what's interesting, too, is as we're watching some of the recaps here, at least I am on the Sportsnet side, In terms of things that should happen in the NHL, you wouldn't expect this, but the Winnipeg Jets go down 3-1 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. So the Jets, one of the best teams in the in the East, they struggle tonight, and Blue Jackets look good against them. And then things that should happen and do happen, the Boston Bruins get the shutout victory tonight against the Nashville Predators. You know what? The reason why that stood out to me, John, is that the Nashville Predators seem to be, in some senses, the Detroit Red Wings of the West. They have very similar records. They're both teams that could be making a push for a playoff spot. But I would argue that the Wings are moving in a positive direction, and not just because of the loss tonight that I just referenced, the 4-0 shutout to Boston. I mean, you lose to the Bruins, you still hold your head high. It's the Bruins. But the Predators just can't seem to get out of their own way, and they can't get any positioning in the standings. I feel like they are basically on the outside looking in permanently this year. But it's going to be interesting with the Wings. I think that they have an excellent opportunity to play spoiler at minimum, if not get a spot for themselves.
Yeah, as you talk about in the West, it's 4-0 after 2 for the Bruins, and I feel like that's going to definitely hold. Again, the Red Wings don't have Jussi Saros on the back end for them, although Ville Husso has been absolutely fantastic over the last 4 or 5 games or so. But yeah, the Preds have a lot of games in hand as well, so that also spells well for the Flames, because if the Bruins can hold them off, it's another game in hand that the Predators can take advantage of.
Yeah, and thank you for the correction there. Of course, I'm checking the app, and I see end second as opposed to end third. The difference between 2 and 3 in hockey, John, is very significant. So yes, but of course, I would expect, and the Bruins will be starting the third period on power play. They could easily stretch that lead to 5-0. But yeah, the standings. This is the time of the year when that watch, the eyeballs are always on the standings, and we're glued. I mean, I'm glued just because the Flames they can't get any breathing room, and tonight is going to be massive in their effort to really get themselves into more of a concrete position in the standings for sure.
Hey, we appreciate you listening along, Nick, as we're in the middle of the first intermission. I'm going to take the second period as far as the play-by-play, and then we'll flip back over as Cooper has home ice advantage right now at the Saddle Dome. This will be the final game of the regular season between the Red Wings and the Flames, so it's 2 of our favorite teams going back-to-back, which is pretty fun within a week's time. So the other score that we can mention in the East especially, and this is big because the Panthers, again, they don't have games now, but they keep getting wins. They got a 6-3 victory over the Washington Capitals. Unfortunately for Washington, Alex Ovechkin might continue to miss more games as he's going visiting his father since his passing. So there's an outdoor game this weekend against Carolina Hurricanes. We'll see if Alex Ovechkin will be back by that time or next week, Tuesday, when they play the Red Wings.
Yeah, it seems the Red Wings have these key matchups coming up, and we talked about their matchup in a couple of nights in Seattle. That's going to be a big game for both teams. Again, certainly depending on what the Kraken and the Wings do this evening. And then I'm going to be keeping my eye on that game between the Wings and the Capitals. And that's, of course, very sad news to hear about Alex Ovechkin and his father and his family. But boy, this run now, John, as we start to I'm just getting that feeling. I remember our work covering the playoffs last year. That feeling is starting to come back now as I'm not just scoreboard watching. I'm not just glancing. I'm really counting points. I'm looking at matchups. I'm really taking stock of what's happening because, like I said, the Flames have not been able to separate in the way they have in prior years. And as I look at their schedule, it's not something I expect them to be able to do very easily. They have the Rangers coming to town on Saturday, and then a Flyers game, which you would think the Flyers having to visit Calgary, you'd think to yourself, oh, Calgary can take that win right there, but it just hasn't been that kind of season for the Flames.
Nope, and that's going to be my next broadcast. This is Saturday at 10. Don't know if that's going to be on CBC or not, but we will have the Flames and the Rangers. At least I'll have that solo. If Cooper joins me for that, that'd be great, because at the 10:30 side as well, it'll be Red Wings and Kraken, so we'll have some live look-ins for that as well. So looking forward to the weekend matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me take an opportunity. This is a callback for anyone who has heard us talk about the defending Stanley Cup champs. I mean, many weeks ago, John and I agreed, even though they sat on the outside looking in, that the Colorado Avalanche would do what they need to do, and they basically have. They are now solidly in a playoff spot. 63 points, 53 games completed. But the Avs, I think, are starting to do what we expected them to do, John. Do you think they're going to continue to climb up the standings? I mean, obviously the Stars are a number of points ahead of them, 8 points ahead to be exact. But are you liking what you've been seeing from Colorado lately? Do you think they're going to make another nice run here this year?
Yeah, because the Avs were 8-2-1 in their last 11. They did the game the other day between Tampa and Colorado. That was a fantastic game, a shootout win for Steven Stamkos and the Lightning. I do. And also, they have to continue to get healthy because they're still without Cale Makar, Josh Manson, another back-end defense, and Eric Johnson. They missed 3 defensemen in that game. Still were very competitive. They got the win off the back-to-back against the Wild last night. I think by March, they should be ready to go here.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, obviously it's unfortunate that I'm glad you mentioned the injuries, not because they occurred, of course, but just the fact that the timing here could be fortuitous for Colorado. You'd think that all 3 of those players at least have a solid chance to get back right at the right time and get their feet back under them, their skates back going again, and really make a big impact for a team that I would expect to contend once again.
And the big thing I need to mention too, Cooper, maybe you'll figure out something about this too, but Gabe Landeskog still hasn't played 1 game for the Avalanche, and that's their captain.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable to think of that, but you're exactly right, and you can only imagine what sort of impact he would have upon making a return. You know, they've been able to do so much without him. I mean, gosh, I just can't believe that the car has been out, and the way, again, he's not necessarily having the same year that he had last year, and part of that is due, some injury issues. And there's going to be a regression to the mean. You can't be otherworldly, blowing out your own stats every single season. But he is such a presence and changes in the game on the ice just because of the threat that he brings. As the offensive defenseman that he is, the elite of the elite. Sort of the Connor McDavid of defensemen, if you will. And when he returns, yeah, look out. The Avalanche are going to continue to make moves, I think.
So one of my favorite quotes, as we're probably getting closer to the end of this first intermission, was Evander Kane. He said the trade deadline season is nothing but BS for fans to commiserate over and talk about, which I thought was absolutely great. But we talked about the Oli Maata signing for the Red Wings, so one of those dominoes has fallen. And yet the way that that's done, again, I would think he'd be here for the rest of the year. That still leaves Steve in a great spot to be able to move things. So I'm not going to talk about Dylan Larkin because we did that last week. But there was a big rumor that I saw, Cooper Hopkins, and it involved your team and my team. Tyler Bertuzzi might be on the market, and they're saying he might go to the Calgary Flames.
Wow, now that is something that did cross the marquee for me. I noticed that. But, John, for some reason, maybe it's just my own belief, truly just in my own brain, I don't feel like that's something that is going to come to fruition. Do you think that that's actually a deal that can get done? And what would you expect back for Bertuzzi? Would you expect, I think the player that I saw suggested on Twitter was that potentially even a Peltier could be moved if Bertuzzi were to make the move. Would you accept something like that, 1-for-1? Would you need draft picks? How do you set it up if you're the GM, John?
So if you're going to do it, my short answer is no. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's something to talk about because from what they say with Detroit and Bertuzzi, he's nowhere near an extension. The numbers do not match, and they don't think he's going to be here at all. Whereas I talked about Larkin before, I do think the deal's going to get done. I'd be sad otherwise, but Bertuzzi's probably open. I think the 1-for-1 probably does match Cooper, only because, again, Bertuzzi recovering off of a couple broken hands. He's not been healthy this year, but look, we saw what he did there with the help of the Kubalik goal. He's going to get in the dirty areas, make the pass across, and be a great hard-nosed player that can also score when he's healthy. So I do think he'd be a fantastic addition. I do think if it was a perfect situation, Detroit would want a first and a couple players, but because Bertuzzi's health of late, I don't think it's going to be a huge return.
Yeah, no, you just made an excellent summary right there and took a lot of the thoughts right out of my own head. I will say that, yes, of course, the injuries history is gonna knock off some of the deal for the Red Wings if there is a deal. I would hate for the Flames to lose a Peltier. Obviously, that was just a suggestion. But that's what you got to do to get contributors. And just the way you described Tyler Bertuzzi, hearing those words come out of your mouth as opposed to just thinking about it in my own noggin. That that's the type of player that Darryl Sutter loves, and Darryl Sutter is really really adept at putting his imprint on teams, and that is a source of controversy these days for Flames fans, just because of the way this team and this roster in particular has performed or not performed. And Darryl Sutter, he wants teams to play his way, and that Tyler Bertuzzi style could be very attractive to the Flames head coach.
Yeah, I think so. And like I talked about before, between Kubalik and Perron, that was also available. We know we talked about that months ago. I do wonder, Cooper, though, shortly, because I know we'll be getting into it. As far as the Tarasenko move for the Blues, does that put any pressure on the Flames as far as making a move to get a scoring forward that they've been looking for?
I don't think so. I haven't noticed or felt any of that. I think we talked about this. I think the Tarasenko move was the right move. For whatever reason, I didn't, because, listen, the deal is done. He's a Ranger. But I didn't see him necessarily fitting in with the roster that is currently iced for the Flames. I'm not just saying this because of the teams matched up tonight and the fact that we're covering this game. Who wouldn't want Dillon Larkin, especially the way he's playing right now? I keep seeing the suggestion that he will be moved. I can't imagine that coming to fruition, though, John, because don't you think even if you get a great deal and solid players back, maybe a couple of picks, you're going to miss that production immediately. And there's something to be said. Maybe I'm missing the business aspect of this, but there's something to be said that Dillon Larkin battled through the years that were really dark for the Wings and Wings fans, don't you think? And there's something to that. His commitment and his skill and his ability to raise the level of play for his team, even when he knew that things weren't going to go well, that's got to be respected. And you'd like to think that they're going to honor that and keep him in red and white.
I really appreciate you saying that, Cooper. Not even just as your friend. This is outreach for the type of player that Dillon Larkin is, because it's the truth. We talked about it before. He didn't have a lot of the help around him. Now you get in the situation, hell, if he's playing the way he's played since the All-Star break, he's been the hottest player in the league. I'm not going to tell you otherwise. I know it's only been about 5 games, but dude's got 5 goals in the last 5 games. So, yeah, he's going to be worth that money. And whoever's going to get him, it's going to be a great price, whatever it's going to be. Even if he is a second-line center like a Nazem Kadri, I think that would fit in very well. I would hate to see him leave. I understand the business part of it, but that's a Red Wings captain through and through. That's a captain for any team.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And, I can't say it enough. What he's done in the All-Star game and since the All-Star break has been, he's been one of the most noticeable players in all of hockey. And I'm excited for the Wings because I think that they are getting a glimpse at the next phase of Dillon Larkin's career. I think he's going to continue on this trajectory, and I think they will keep him around. I think that's the right call for them. Obviously, it's just me making a prediction, so just one man's opinion, but I think that's the way things are going to go. And this is kind of my minutes-long answer to your question about what the Flames are going to do. I actually think, John, that they're going to stand pat at the trade deadline. So I'm going to let you jump into play-by-play. We can get back into that when we hit the media timeouts. But the play-by-play is yours, my friend. Take it away.
It's a 1-1 game going into the second period. It's very close like it was last week. It was 0-0 last week going into the second period. So 23 controlled exits for the Red Wings at the first 27 for the Flames. So breakout control, puck possession. They've been pretty kind to the Wings on that part because I feel like the Flames have the puck more so than everybody else. So right to left, an immediate steal for Copp as he's getting stick handled a little bit. This will go back behind the net for Michael Rassmussen. He's going to hold off the left side of that body and now leave for Copp. As Ravens a little bit of a jump here off the face-off lane. And now Rassmussen off the wraparound attempt. As that was saved by Vladar with the right pad. And the Red Wings will try to get this back in there with Robbie Fabry again. Just good to see him back on the ice. They're battling through 3 ACL tears. And now Tyler Toffoli will get this one left to right for the Flames. As it's chipped down, Dube, as this gets knocked out of the air by one of the Red Wings and now picked up by Copp. So on the third line time right now for Dirk LaLonde's squad. Dominik Kubalik will try to get in there for the Red Wings, and this will go back to the Flames. Again, they are in the home Reds, which yellow and white piping, and the Red Wings are in the road whites, although old enough to be able to see that switched. As this gets picked up now by Ben Sherratt, and now the Flames, a chance for Coleman, and he missed the left side of the post as this goes all the way back to Mackenzie Weegar. Pass across the Flaming Sea, and this will get picked up here by the Red Wings as Filip Hronek will get this around the end boards, and the Red Wings now look to get puck possession with Tyler Bertuzzi. He tried to find Ben Sherratt. This gets picked up by Andrew Mangiapane. Nice drop there for Backlund. It got bounced up in the air. Where is it? It's near the left side of the face-off dot, and now Ben Sherratt will spin around. Blake Coleman, former Tampa Bay Lightning man, as this gets picked back off the back pass, and Sherratt's got it in behind the net of Hellberg. Dominik Kubalik, he gets it knocked away nicely. Nazem Kadri with the cross pass, and the Flames had puck possession off the back pass, picked up in the high slot. Here's the bomb, and it was saved by Hellberg.
Yes, it certainly was, John. And you know, if you're a hockey fan who watches the Flames ever, and Michael Stone is on the ice, if he has an opportunity to take a slapper, he will take a slapper, and that slapper will be 95 miles per hour or faster. He has an absolute cannon. He let one fly right there. Hellberg does a nice job through a bit of a screen to find that thing.
And that 95 doesn't need to be from a running start as he launches another one. This goes all the way around the end boards, and it will stay in as the Red Wings try to get it out of their own end. Jonathan Berggren, a little bit of a sauce pass here for Joe Veleno. He's going to ride the right side wall, spin back, put it in the middle of a slot as this got sticked by Maata, and now a penalty is upcoming against the Flames.
Yeah, John, just a bit of a mess of a sequence right there for Calgary in their own end. Darryl Sutter can't believe it. Frankly, neither can I. But the Red Wings, have picked up right where they left off at the end of the first period. Momentum seems to be all in favor of the visitors right now, but the Flames had multiple chances just to connect a couple of simple passes to get out of their own zone. They couldn't do so. It's left basically in the high slot, and Michael Stone has to turn around, and he drops one of the Red Wings, and he's going to go, I think, was that a cross-check? Either that or interference, and Stone is furious.
Yeah, it was. He definitely got a piece of David Perron as the Red Wings will go to the power play, and we'll see if Perron can get his 600 point right here as Perron gets this across to Seider. This gets deflected as it was saved by the left pad of Vladar. Perron will pick it up. Cross pass toward the left side. Down scores! Red Wings take the lead.
There it is right there, John. And there are actually quite a few Red Wings fans here at the Scotiabank Saddledome. That is a beautiful goal right there. Dan Vladar couldn't find it. Michael Stone shakes his head in disbelief, but Robbie Fabry fires one in, and boy, he had all day to shoot that puck, John.
If you think about when we just talked about it, the first intermission, the hottest Red Wings, you mentioned in the open, and Cooper did at least. You got Dillon Larkin, you got to mention Robbie Fabry in that same sentence. We've got 8 points in the last 3 games. As again, he did have all day to fire near that right side dot. Larkin's going to get a primary assist.
Beautiful goal right there. And yeah, this game has completely changed since about the last 2 minutes of the first period.
So the Red Wings now have the lead. It's 2-1. It's 11 shots to 9 in favor of the Flames, but now they are down on the scoreboard after 2 straight goals by Detroit. Rasmus Andersson will chip this in. I think he actually chipped it over, and we'll get a neutral zone draw coming.
Yeah, John, this is what has undone the Flames throughout the season. Just a couple of mental lapses in their own end results in the cross-checking penalty to Stone. And boy, not even 30 seconds into that man advantage, the Red Wings make the most of it. The Flames really chasing this one right now.
So there it is for David Perron, 1,027 games. That was his 700th point on the secondary assist from Fabry's power play goal from Larkin. And now Nazem Kadri has it near the left side of the red line. Keeps it alive nicely off the backhand, but this will fall to Filip Zadina. Sundqvist plays his ahead to Pius Suter, and Suter will just flip it into the left side red line. We're trying to find Noah Hannafin. As body checks will allow the Red Wings to pick this up now with Jake Wallman. Again, it's good to see him back on the ice, but his pass for Zadina, that gets turned over, and now the Red Wings are going to have to deal with some trouble as this is near the left side of the face-off dot. Try to go back D to D, now near the left side dot. Waiting for a pass across was Peltier. He would have been wide open to stuff it in, but it goes to Tanev in the high slot. He shoots to the screen, nowhere close, and this is a battle for Seider as he just tries to backhand it away. And Suter tries to get around Tanev, kind of look dwarf there as far as the size mismatch. and the Red Wings flip it down. Sundqvist gets bodied off the puck by Weegar, and now this will be Chris Tanev. As it's 16-15, we'll have to go in the second. John, you're with you on the play-by-play of the second period. Cooper Hopkins on color, but we're going to switch off on the third as he's got the home ice advantage. We're at the Saddle Dome. So Filip Hronek leaves us here now for Chirot, and now Andrew Copp as a quick little transition. And boy, does this look like a completely different Red Wings team from the first period that just couldn't get out of their own way. Now they're actually getting to some of these pucks and actually making some clean passes as Coleman back in his own end will get this one across. And Calgary can't get this out of their own end just yet as one of the wings get a stick on it. And this goes across the flaming sea and dumped down across the red line by the wing wheel. Calgary will put this off of a nice breakout pass, and then Dube with a little bit of a jump dig. He's going to drive the net. Hellberg tries to stick it away, and it's a puck stoppage.
Wow, John, right there. Nice drive in the net by Tyler Toffoli. And I will say, as I'm getting this replay on the Sportsnet side, I'm glad I'm seeing it. Although I would have mentioned it even if I hadn't seen the replay. This has been one of the better games I've seen Jonathan Huberdeau play in a Flames uniform. He has looked sharp in both periods so far. He's not on the score sheet yet, but he's creating opportunities for himself and others. He and Mikael Backlund, definitely the top two Flames for me so far in this game.
I would agree. And Bally Sports Detroit, they're making the eye on Tyler Toffoli, 14 points in 16 games against the Red Wings. And that would be certainly another MVP-type player here for the Flames off the face-off win as they beat Larkin. And that was a great save by Hellberg as he had to brush it away with the right glove. And this goes all the way down for icing.
Yeah, so it's taken about 5 minutes here in this second period, which has gone actually quite quickly. It's taken about 5 minutes, but the Flames now starting to make a bit of a push here. Of course, the damage has been done. They entered this period at 1-1. It's now 2-1. Face-off coming to Hellberg's right.
So another face-off win as this one gets backhanded toward the right side, dot nowhere close of Hellberg. And now this goes into the neutral zone as the puck goes away from Dillon Dube. And now picked up by Rasmus Andersson again. It's his first game back since the scooter incident off the backhand for Kubalik. And that was close to actually getting something on Vladar, Oli Maata. And now with Noah Hannafin, Dylan Larkin trying to body him off as Kubalik. We'll pick it back up now for Dylan Larkin. Larkin trying to play this one off the forehand, trying to battle in between some skates. Good effort there by Bertuzzi to just try to get a piece of it to help out Dylan Larkin. But Kubalik is the first one of the puck again. Sets it up for Bertuzzi off the right pad, save off the one-timer. And another shot goes wide. Kubalik tried to find it in amongst the trees as it goes back to Jordan Osterley, and he's going to have to race back for the puck right now. He just tries to brush it toward the right side of the wall. Dillon Dube able to keep it alive with the help of Tyler Toffoli. And now Bertuzzi out there with Tanev and a good body contact in between the pair of the Flames and the Red Wings as another long pass. This one gets picked off this time by the Flames. Milan Lucic, you can always tell when he's on the ice as his backhand pass gets deflected, and now Lewis will put this back to Mackenzie Weegar. Weegar will go to Tanev. He'll hold patiently looking for a deflection off the wrist shot, and this will stay with the Flames. Flames will fire it on near the left side dot, and this gets collected by Oli Maata. Here's a chance now for Larkin, but I wonder how much gasoline he has. He just had to shoot that one. I think he was pretty tired off that long shift. And now Lewis will dump it in. It goes up the left pad of Hellberg as Lucic will send it around. Now Pius Suter will go back in his own end now with no Seider. Seider has it. He's continuing to skate into the circle. Now leave it for Pius Suter. Suter will just float it on of Dan Vladar and picked up now by Nikita Zadorov, but he almost got stick lifted. Blake Coleman plays it off the right side of the boards, and this will be backhanded and toward an open right wing, and then dumped in by the Flames and Michael Stone as he's back on the ice. The Wings will chip it down, but into the players' bench. 13-18 in the second.
Yeah, a couple of things here, John, and again, timely replay on the Sportsnet side for me is Dylan Larkin had a partial breakaway there, and you're right. Your observation, I think, was right on. He did start to run out of gas there after the end of a little bit longer shift than normal. But you know what? Chris Tanev was also out after a shift of the same length, and he turned the jets on. And he, by no means is he Johnny Gaudreau. He put everything into his skating right there and closed down the center of the ice so Dylan Larkin couldn't cut into the slot, and did at least a bit of extra work to force the Red Wings captain to shoot from distance. So credit to Tanev, and he is such a difference maker on the defensive side for the Flames. He's been out a few games this year with injury, and the Flames just do not look the same when he's not in the lineup.
And from this first period here, Cooper, this looks a lot different. Like it's opened up a little bit here in this middle frame, has it not?
Yeah, and boy, whatever was ailing Detroit in that first period, they shook out the cobwebs, and they apparently inserted those cobwebs into the brains of every Flames player, because the Flames were playing basically the way the Wings were for 16 minutes of that first period. Boy, for the first 4.5 minutes or so of the second, that's what the Flames looked like. Almost like they swapped jerseys or something like that. But I will say I agree with your recent assessment from just a moment ago. I think things have started to even out. But the Red Wings capitalizing on that big opportunity early when the Flames were in the penalty box. And it's 2-1, and it deserves to be 2-1. I mean, the Wings have looked better for a shorter period in this game, or a shorter period of time, I should say. But the Flames now, the onus is on them to come back and even this thing up.
So even off the back-to-back, regardless of what happens, the Red Wings, again, will still have 3 games in hand of a lot of teams that are chasing them. Florida got the 2 points. So it's going to be up for Detroit to try to match that at this point, even off the back-to-back. Again, this is going to continue a 5-game road stand with Seattle and then Washington, and then they go back and play Tampa Bay right after that. So the schedule does not get any easier.
No, it does not. And interestingly, I'm looking at the shot board right now, John. Guess who's ahead? The Detroit Red Wings, 14-13, as we get back into the action.
Yeah, we never would have thought of that after the first period, the way that it was going, but it's 13:05 thereabouts. For me, in this second period, as I'm doing the play-by-play, joined by Cooper Hopkins doing the color, but we will certainly switch off in this third period. It's a 2-1 lead for the Wing Wheel right now. We're at the Scotiabank Saddle Dome as this goes D-to-D, and now a shot for Seider as this one goes intentionally wide, and this will allow Chirac to try to pinch in, pick it up now near the left side red line. He's trying to battle Noah Hannafin off the puck. Peltier is trying to get to it, or maybe have it fall to him. But now the Flames can break out. It's Nazem Kadri. He's going to have to gain this red line as he was kind of forced there by Chirac, holding a little bit of the jersey, but that is definitely legal. This is picked up now by Jonathan Berggren. Berggren will flip it down, but Christopher Tanev will intercept. This will get picked up across the Flame and Sea. Now a chance for Berggren. It's 1-on-2, and I think we might get an offside call with 12:24 in the second. Get a little pushing and shoving here with Tanev. Got a little bear hug there for Jonathan Berggren, but I don't think that's anything more than, hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, one of the low moments right there of this game for Jonathan Huberdeau with a bad turnover. The puck just sort of awkwardly bouncing off his stick, really right at the center red line. That allows the Red Wings to carry in. And boy, Chris Tanev took an issue with something that one of the Wings was doing. But yeah, Tanev was in the mix right there, and Berggren was in the mix for the Wings as well after the play had been blown dead.
I think a little bit of rookie hazing there for Jonathan Berggren. He's had a pretty good year for the Wings so far. Again, out at camp, he wasn't even expected to make the team, but he's been pretty good. In 40 games, got 11 goals and 10 assists. I think any NHL team would take that. So Andrew Copp going to try to win a neutral zone draw. He does to Oli Maata, as this will get flipped all the way down there by the Wings. Michael Stone was Zadorov as this gets picked up by the Red Wings here momentarily. As Fabry got a piece of it. Rasmussen trying to set him up near the right side of the dot. And a wrap pass, that one goes just a little far for Andrew Copp as he got muscled near the left side boards, and nice coverage in the middle of the slot there by the Flames because one of the Red Wings was wide open. This is Coleman as this gets flipped up, but this is still in play near the right side of the red line as it's just a massive humanity. This goes back to Tanev looking for the slap shot, and that one goes wide as Stone had a bid, but he missed it all. And now this will go back around the inboards here for Mangiapane. He's keeping it alive off the backhand. They'll do this one more time. Mackenzie Weegar now for Tanev. Picked up now by Coleman in the high slot. Tanev going to let it go through the traffic. It was solved by Hellberg, but it's still very loose and picked up now by the Flames as they start to have this puck possession. Fired into the screen, and this goes up into the players' bench.
John. Boy, Andrew Mangiapane just made the play of the game so far right there. There's been a ton of action in the slot and down near the crease in front of Dan Vladar in this period. And boy, right there, the Wings were set up for another open shot attempt, another high-danger scoring opportunity. Mangiapane on the back check at full speed, lifts the stick just enough and comes away with a puck, keeps this game 2-1. I think if the Wings get that shot off, it's 3-1.
Thank you for getting that full call out because he needed to get that attention because that was the defensive play of the game right now. So Dylan Larkin against Elias Lindholm both the top lines, and Larkin actually does win this one. As Moritz Seider actually got a little bit of a body contact, and there was a pushback on the other end, but play's still going on right now. You figured you might see that as Dylan Larkin got upended. Here's Bertuzzi. Now for Walden with the wristers, Bertuzzi tries to flick it out of the air, and that was stopped by Vladar as we get some more body contact. And now here's a chance. Scores! Dillon Dube races down the right wing and ties the game at 2.
Well, somebody better give the Calgary Flames website manager a raise because he was the player to watch in red. And boy, I just had a big smile on my face watching him make something out of nothing. Puck comes bouncing out of the Flames end through the neutral zone, picks it up, and just skates past Larkin, who is fleet of foot himself. But Dillon Dube with a full tank of gas right there comes in from the face-off circle and snipes over Hellberg's glove right there, puts his arms out wide as if to say, thank you and you're welcome. It's 2-2.
For as hot as Dylan Larkin has been, you have to answer in every respect from the All-Star break that Dillon Dube is in that same sentence, and I mean that wholeheartedly. As this is now a 2-2 game, that's also even on the shot board at 15. This has been a good game on both sides, just like it was last week, as Hronek will try to get this stretch pass, and it gets sticked, but toward the Flames, as they are back in the defensive end, try to get a quick transition as Brett Ritchie actually might win the race. He's going to get pinned in the wall by Hronek, the left wall. This will go back now to the Flames. They can't hold it in. I believe this is a chance for Sundqvist, but he doesn't have a fleet of foot speed. This will fold to Vladar. No hold.
Boy, so we're seeing some common threads here, John. The Wings are really pushing their offensive opportunities, and they're getting their speed up through the neutral zone, and they're doing what they weren't able to do in the first period, which is skate that puck in with some room to work. And the Flames are doing just enough. We talked about Mangiapane doing it. Michael Stone, I would say, makes up for his penalty right there. He gets back, gets a stick on the puck just in time, and we'll have a face-off to Dan Vladar's left.
I appreciate the kind comments that we're getting on the Twitter Spaces and the YouTube side, saying thankfully that we get to stream this game here today for everybody. They're having a lot of fun with it. We're glad you guys are. Toward the right side, Dot. This will get deflected. This is loose for Kadri, and he missed the net. Oh, he had a chance to score the goal. It's a scramble. The Flames trying to get it. Valeno just trying to fall on it, and now we are going to get a hooking penalty.
Wow, John, so much going on right here. First of all, it should be 3-2 Calgary. Nazem Kadri was about 5 feet, if that, from the cage. And while in the offensive zone, so as a result of that missed shot, the puck comes bouncing out in front. Jonathan Huberdeau, fighting for possession right there, ends up hooking one of the wings. You never want to take a penalty like that in the offensive zone. Boy, that's a clear penalty right there. So unfortunately, Huberdeau's night starting to take a bit of a negative turn. Had a great first period and looks pretty solid here in the first part of the second. But bad turnover at center ice, and now a hooking penalty is going to bring up another man advantage for Detroit. They're already 1 for 2 on the night.
So they were 2 for 2 last night, 1 for 2 tonight. Their power play is starting to heat up a little bit. Again, that's been a problem for Detroit, scoring some goals as Larkin gets it clean here for Seider, wins it straight back. As this will get flipped around by Robbie Fabry, why not put him back out there right now? As Fabry will have it near the right side dot. He'll drop it for Seider. Seider, patient. He is near the right side of the blue line as the Wings will just try to turn right around and flip it. David Perron will get this off the backhand. Tyler Bertuzzi now for Fabry, as he'll make the pass across, but David Perron couldn't get to it. This could be an opportunity here for Calgary. It's a 1-on-2 off the pass, but it partially got deflected as Elias Lindholm knocked down his man, and this will go back now for Noah Hannafin. Hannafin, nice flip. This will go all the way down. They'll get the clear. Moritz Seider will be there first. So a minute 15 left to go on the Red Wings power play. About 9-10 left to go in the second period. John here with you on the play-by-play, drawn by Cooper Hopkins. We're going to flip to the third period. This will be the last look in the regular season between the Red Wings and the Flames, two of our favorite teams. Coleman picking up now near the right wing. He's just going to kill some more time trying to get around Hronek, and now Seider will play this across. David Perron will gain the entry pretty easily off the backhand for Andrew Copp. Andrew Copp trying to keep it alive off the backhand, as this didn't get to Filip Hronek as Blake Coleman is trying to get in the way. Kubalik finds Berggren. Berggren set us up for Hronek, and that was a heroic shot block in clear, all in the same possession by the Flames as they flip it all the way down to Magnus Hellberg. And they showed on the Bally Sports Detroit side, the NHL point leaders, we'll get to that in a minute, as Sundqvist might have a breakaway. And he got bodied off nicely by Mackenzie Weegar. I keep seeing McDavid flash with that 99. He's very close to 100. As this goes back for a slap shot, Sundqvist tried to hit it out of the air. Vladar made the initial save. Weegar is with it. And now the Flames, they can't get it out. A slap pass all the way across for Copp. And he's got to peel back to try to go ahead and get this puck possession as Dominik Kubalik is stuck on the defensive side. This is going to go dangerous in the middle of the slot. This will allow the Flames to get back to full strength, but it won't allow a pass for a breakout as the Red Wings still have this in the offensive end. And now Wallman can't hold off the backhand. And with 7:45 left in the second, it's 16 shots to 15 in favor of Detroit in a 2-2 game. Pius Suter, good drop there as this gets tried to get picked up by Jonathan Berggren. As he's taken down, players just falling on top of each other. Zadorov got a piece of the body. And now Chiarot, this is right in the catching glove of Dan Vladar.
Yeah, really nice job by Vladar to end that sequence right there. I know the puck had come in and out of the offensive zone of Detroit right there a couple of times, but boy, the offensive pressure was really solid and consistent for Detroit, really throughout the second minute of that 2-minute minor, that hooking penalty to Huberdeau. And I will say, Elias Lindholm, who had a shorthanded chance, he already has a shorty in this game. I was a little surprised to see that he went with the pass attempt, looking to go across ice as they broke in the first 30 seconds or so as they were killing. I mean, he had just seen Dillon Dube beat Helbert to the glove side.
Yeah.
But Lindholm's on the glove side. You think, okay, maybe I'll test him one more time to see if he's still feeling a little weak in that spot. But he opts for the pass, which is ultimately deflected away. But I will finish my thoughts as we hit the commercial break here, just to say that credit where it's due, Detroit, tale of two periods so far. They look good on that power play. They were all around it. Their passing is crisp now. They've really turned that aspect of their game around. And if the Flames don't make another switch here in terms of their strategy, I think the Wings are going to tie it up soon. There are only so many times you can chase down a player on a partial breakaway and expect to really stop that offensive chance.
Yeah, so as it stands right now, for anyone joining in, we'll give you a quick score reset in the commercial break. So Elias Lindholm got it started shorthanded at 15:22 the first from Mikael Backlund. Dominik Kubalik answered from Tyler Bertuzzi and Jordan Osterley at 18:59. It was 1-1 after 1. Well, right now we're in the middle of the second period. We're tied at dose. Robbie Fabry got it started on the power play in the second period at 2:27 from Larkin and Perron. Dillon Dube answered with a beautiful goal, speeding down the left wing side and beat Magnus Hellberg, as Cooper said, in the blocker side. And it was Rasmus Andersson and Tyler Toffoli. So Dylan Larkin, I'm getting on the Bally Sports Detroit feed here. 11 power play goals, 20 power play points, a point a game, and an 81-point pace per season would all be career highs. And oh, by the way, he is in a contract year. It's funny how that works out, Cooper Hopkins.
Yeah, it certainly is. What are the odds? Oh, hey, Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk. Well, I know Matthew Tkachuk wasn't technically in a contract year, but close enough. They both had record-setting seasons for the Flames franchise and themselves. They went elsewhere. So we got this Flames roster, and they are fighting against a very solid Wings team right now. The action has resumed. There's a slapper right on, saved by Vladar. John, I'll let you jump back into it.
So Ole Maata off the left blockers, that was saved by Vladar. Now Michael Stone holding his man is Filip Zadina. Got to get in there. You don't make sure he doesn't trip anybody, especially Nazem Kadri. And that's got to be called.
Yep, that's going to be called. Boy, that was kind of an interesting sequence right there. That was like one of the slowest developing hooks or trips I've ever seen. Nazem Kadri at about 10% of his full speed. He just took the puck out from behind Dan Vladar, and the stick gets up into his skates. He goes down, hand goes up. Zadina in the box for tripping at 12:49. It's going to be a power play for the Calgary Flames.
It's funny how we just talked about it in Calgary and being able to find that switch. Well, they can find it now with a power play opportunity because that's a little bit of a careless penalty by Filip Zadina. We'll just say that honestly. So it's offensive zone draw here for Kadri and Copp, and this is one by Nazem. As Mackenzie Weegar, he'll fight it down through the traffic. Kadri just tried to whiff on it as this was picked up off of a couple of stick blades by the Red Wings and sent all the way down to Dan Vladar. So a minute 45 left to go in the Calgary power play, about 6:55 left to go in the second. In the last 11 games, the second best in the NHL was the Red Wings penalty kill, 24 of 27. As this gets across the Flaming Sea, Nazem Kadri is offsides. You get a stop at 6:44.
Yep, so just over 90 seconds to go here in this power play for the Flames. Got ourselves a tight hockey game, and John, it feels like it's getting tighter. The Red Wings have made some good pushes offensively in this game, but I'm interested to see if the Flames can continue to even the seesaw that we've got here by making, even if they don't score, got to make some inroads, got to pull back some of that momentum here with the man advantage.
Yeah, you do. You want to get the shots on, feel good about yourself. Now that Filip Hronek gets taken down, I'm sure he's going to want to call against Dillon Dube as he's still got his stick stuck underneath. And now Rasmus Andersson will ride the left side of the blue line. This shot gets bounced out in front. It just seems like Calgary is trying to settle for those shot deflections right now. I haven't seen a lot of change in their attack to look different, except for the Dillon Dube explosion, as this is picked up now by Rasmus Andersson. Leaving now here for Elias Lindholm. Nice skate ahead, but this is picked up by Detroit momentarily as Dylan Larkin was up on the back check. And now this will go to Mikael Backlund. 50 seconds left to go in the Calgary power play. It's a 2-2 game, 18 shots to 15 in favor of Detroit. Calgary has the latest goal, courtesy of Dillon Dube. Now this is put around the inboards near the right side of the red line. Backlund, he got punished to make that pass as Calgary's pretty much been able to get set up here near the left side of the dot. It's Tyler Toffoli off the back pass as this will stay D-to-D now. Back to Toffoli. This is another deflection opportunity, and Hellberg will just hold it.
Yeah, so John, you aptly pointed out the Flames strategy really has been relying on traffic, hitting shots from kind of that middle distance, sometimes all the way out to the point. That's definitely something that is consistent with their game this year. And that one was deflected on by Dube. He actually had gotten some room for himself and was left unchecked right out in front of the crease. So good job right there. Got the stick blade on the puck. It was going 5-hole, but didn't have a ton of mustard on it. So Hellberg was able to cover up. One thing I will say, Rasmus Andersson still looks a little ginger out there. Doesn't have the same speed that he normally does. And, of course, the man was struck by an automobile last week, so we can't judge him too much. Just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Darryl Sutter said it was pretty much his decision if he wanted to play today. He's got the puck now as make the pass across here for Huberdeau. Tried to flip this one short side, and they showed Jonathan Huberdeau has 36 points this year. He had 72 at this point last year. As this is picked up now, what a stop by Hellberg with a flashy glove save.
Oh, he had one of those in the first period, John, and Huberdeau is having an up and down night now. I'd say more up than down, which is great for Flames fans. That was a really solid shot right there, well placed, but Hellberg flashes the leather, and Huberdeau can't believe it. He could have 2 tonight. He's still held scoreless.
And that's what we want to say. We haven't been able to say that often. Again, at 29 years old, Jonathan Huberdeau, and that extension, everything else is going to kick in next year alongside with Mackenzie Weegar. Another face-off win here for the Flames. And this will get flipped down for Zadina, who was just getting out of the box, but he can't get to it first as Rasmus Andersson will beat him to it. Red Wings will try to get a piece of it as they'll poke check it nicely. And guess who that was again? Dylan Larkin, just trying to make a play out of nothing as he leaves it now here for Tyler Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi off the backhand. We'll just put this out in the middle of the slot, try to find Larkin in between 3 Flames. And somehow the Red Wings still have it as number 71 still trying to work with it, Tyler Bertuzzi. Couple of stick lifts that get centered out dangerously. Scores! Red Wings want to go. Take the lead.
My goodness, John. You felt it coming. The Flames didn't do a ton on their power play, and they almost had a breakaway. Kubalik coming out of the box right there. There seems to be a Red Wing who's shaken up on that play. So I just want to make a quick call here that Dylan Larkin was the engine that drove that scoring opportunity for the Detroit Red Wings. Dylan Larkin was just everywhere. Bertuzzi gets hit really hard just to the left of the cage, to Dan Vladar's left. I'm not sure if he caught a stick to the mouth
he did.
or to his wrist, but yeah, he looks to be injured right now. But it is 3-2 Detroit.
He got absolutely smoked by Nazem Kadri with the stick as he was digging it out in the middle of the slot. And Larkin, he fed it to Kubalik. That is his second of the game. And hopefully for Tyler Bertuzzi, he's not spitting chicklets like the podcast as he's back on the bench right now. He looks like he might have got actually hit in the eyes. They're showing that as well. So hopefully he can shake that one off. He is as tough as they come. Again, he had 2 broken hands this year as Kubalik with his 16th from Larkin and Bertuzzi. And now all of a sudden the Red Wings have the lead. Of his 16 goals of note, 12 of them are on the road. Tyler Toffoli gains the entry off the forehand now. This will be a chance for Dillon Dube as he's in the high slot. Going to drop it here for Tanev. Into the traffic and again, and the Red Wings will get this one. This should be an icing. 4:05 left to go in the second. Yes, it is.
Yeah, John, it's I feel like it's my job since I'm on the analysis side in the second period to try to analyze the scoring play for the Red Wings. My analysis is that the Flames just completely lost their way. They completely got turned around. It was a bit of a disaster there in their own end, and it resulted in a goal for the Wings. But there was a nice shot on right there, and they win this faceoff.
And I want to say this again, once this gets out of the offensive zone, I want to bring up a point, as this is picked up now by Backlund. A couple body contact there between Hronek as well. And this will go to Ben Chiarot. Picked up now by Hronek, but the Flames still keep this in. And Mangiapane trying to get around Hronek, but nice cancellation off the puck. This will stay with Stone. Again, looking for the tip. Now the back pass, but one of the Flames couldn't get a stick on it. Stone going to let it go. This goes off the right arm of Hellberg, and I'm sure it doesn't matter how much you're wearing. That slap shot's going to hurt. Ben Chiarot will flip this down. And what I was going to say with Tyler Bertuzzi, the way that he made that play, won another puck battle and took a puck to the face. You can't tell me he's the type of guy that wouldn't make the grit and everything else go, as we talked about that in the first intermission. 3:10 left to go in the second, as this is a battle near the blue line side to try to see if the Flames can keep this in the offensive zone. They do, as Trevor Lewis is all over Olli Maatta, and now Rassmussen has to get around Trevor Lewis as well, as Filip Hronek will take a skate in behind his net. 2:50 left to go in the second. My time on the play-by-play side is going to be over shortly as Cooper Hopkins giving analysis for this second period. We're going to be switching off as this flips around the end boards. Stone will get a piece of it off of the forehand, try to get this here to Huberdeau. Nice entry pass as this goes across the flaming sea now. This is a shot that gets right on and saved by Hellberg.
Yeah, a pretty standard save right there, as we do see Bertuzzi heading back to the room. Not sure if he's going all the way or just stepping away from the bench to get some more attention. I think he's keeping all of his teeth. And it looks to me like, John, there's definitely that stick blade was up in the face. Of course, we know that. It seemed to have caught him mostly in the nose as well. He does have a cut on the nose. Doesn't appear to need stitches, but he can't be feeling too good right now.
No.
And as you pointed out, even though Hellberg has more pads than anyone other than Dan Vladar on the ice, he had to fight off a 98.6 mile an hour slap shot from Michael Stone. And Michael Stone wasn't even really out at his spot on the blue line. He was about halfway through the ozone right there. So great job by Hellberg to turn that aside. That's a missile right there.
And I didn't get to see this on the Twitter side, but I see Nick on the YouTube side. He wants to throw out a question from NTG Cooper. He says, with both teams having a pretty similar record, who would you say is the better between the two right now? That's his question.
Well, you cannot argue with the way that the Red Wings are playing against the Flames and the way they played. And I mean tonight. And you cannot argue with the performance from last week. So if we put these two teams in a vacuum and we compare only them against only one another, I'm going to give it to the Wings. The Flames had a nice first period, but you know what? They couldn't. Listen, you want to blow out the world a little bit? Let's zoom out, get bird's eye view. The Flames had a nice game. They controlled the game against the Ottawa Senators. Did they win that game? No, they did not. The Flames had a nice period. They had a solid period. They controlled the play against the Detroit Red Wings. Did they do that throughout the period and enter the first intermission with a lead? No, they did not. Did that inability to continue that run of play affect this period that we are now calling? It absolutely did, because the Wings were able to take the lead. It forces the Flames to tie the game on a fantastic individual play by one of their better forwards, Dillon Dube. So, of course, tip of the cap to number 29. Beautiful goal. However, they fall all over themselves almost literally again and allow their opponent to take the lead. So I'm going to give the Wings the crown right now. And I have a little confidence that the Flames can take it back unless they do something big here.
It's Kadri against Larkin with the draw. And again, that's an honest man there between both of our teams. So you got to appreciate that with Cooper Hopkins. He's not going to mince words, and I won't either as far as what we see on the ice. I think that's what makes us a good broadcast crew sometimes. As this is picked up now by Huberdeau, and now Dylan Larkin. He gets the intercept with Dominik Kubalik. Again, he's looking for a hat. Tyler Bertuzzi's back out there, and he just lost an edge and toward the right side boards. So even when he's not taking a stick to the face, he just loses edge and fall on the boards. This is a day in the life of Tyler Bertuzzi. As Moritz Seider will get this here to Jake Wallman. Again, it's good to see Jake Wallman on there taking that hit last week against Nikita Zadorov. That was a hellacious body contact, as this is picked up now in behind the boards for Chris Tanev. Huberdeau gets this one across. And now we'll collect it back off the pass. And Hellberg will get a chance to play this one. And thankfully, it wasn't a long pass. It was just a little bit more of an easy one as one of the wings get knocked down. And are they calling it against Filip Zadina? That's curious on my end against Calgary.
Yeah, John, I'm trying to assess this right here. Do we have a penalty coming up against Elias Lindholm or Zadina? Zadina was the one who went down to the ice. Lindholm was involved in the play, and play was whistled dead as those two players came together at the far boards. And guess who's closing the penalty box door? Number 28 in red, my friend. It's going to be another power play for Detroit. That was inadvertent, but you have to make that call. Elias Lindholm gets his skate tied up and trips Zadina. So, boy, oh boy, at 18:27 of the second, already down a goal. It's time for another man advantage for the visitors.
Wow, I'm going to say I did not see much there, although I agree it's something you got to be called, but that just seemed more unfortunate than anything else. And now the Red Wings will try to matriculate this around the end boards. This will go all the way back to David Perron. Again, he picked up point number 600 tonight. Nice cross pass and what a goal again! As the Wings continue to move the puck around, and this one is Tyler Bertuzzi.
Boy, John, just seconds into the power play, the Red Wings solve the Flames yet again. Boy, they just made it look easy. It's gotten easier and easier and easier for this Red Wings team. The Flames were chasing it to Zadorov, chasing from circle to circle, nobody in a solid position. Dylan Larkin, the best player on the ice in white, has all day to make his passes. Bertuzzi comes out of the corner. Vladar can't see him behind him, and Tanev, of all people, is out of position. And that is a goal, and it is 4-2 Detroit. And I hate to be right, but I feel good about my answer that I gave about 90 seconds ago.
So here's the interesting part for me. Again, I know it's not the same teams, but you got another team in Calgary, Alberta, or Alberta in general, between Edmonton and Calgary. It was a 4-2 lead for Detroit going into the third period. It ended up being a 4-4 game, and the Wings had to win in a shootout against Edmonton. So we'll see if Detroit can hold this 2-goal lead with 50 seconds left to go in the second. There was so much time left. But Detroit, they didn't have any jump in that first period. They've certainly had it here in the second. Pius Suter off the back pass. There's Red Wings in full force as this goes off the stick of Dan Vladar and now picked up. Peltier with the drop pass. Excuse me, that was Coleman. Now Lindholm as this goes off of the left stick of Hellberg. And now I think we might get a call the other way against the Red Wings and Ben Chiarot.
Yep, it is going to be Ben Chiarot. And boy, Lindholm was just pinwheeled down in the trapezoid right behind Hellberg. So he's taking an inadvertent penalty and then draws a penalty right there. And yeah, that's either going to be a hook or an interference. But excuse me, it's Rassmussen. Not Chiarot. It's going to go number 27 for the Wings. Will be sitting at 19:28 interference. So the Flames right here, they may score with 32.1 left in the second period. If not, at least they'll get a chance to build some momentum, and they need it. They're 0 for 1 on the power play tonight with 3 shots, and they are down by 2 on the scoreboard.
Thank you for the correction on that in Rasmussen, because I just saw the part of that in the replay. That was a little bit of a chop, so very fortunate to not be any more than 2, as the Red Wings now have to try to get a kill. Peltier will hold the right side of the blue line, and now the Flames can at least carry this over if they don't score. As this goes now to Chiarot, he'll try to play this up the forehand, and he gets this clear, and then we'll go all the way down. Shots are now even at 20 apiece, but the Red Wings have scored 3 times in this second period to Dillon Dube's goal. It's 4-2. Now 5 seconds, Mangiapane. That shot gets flipped up and out of play with 2.5 seconds left in the second.
Yeah, John, one thing we can talk about as we get into our second intermission here, which is 2.6 seconds away, is just the confidence in the gameplay of these two different teams, especially in the second period. The Red Wings are making crisp, decisive actions. Those passes show it. Their shot attempts show it. Something about the Flames just shows me a little bit of tentativeness. They're setting themselves up for opportunities, but they don't seem to really hit the gas when they have to get those crisp passes going and get themselves opportunities.
So face-off loss, and that is going to end the second period. Red Wings take a 4-2 lead in the dressing room at the Saddle Dome.
Interesting, John. So we already have far more goals than we did in their contest from a week ago that you and I covered. But a similar theme here. We've seen some themes throughout both periods here, and the overall theme for me is that the Red Wings are doing enough to pull away from the Calgary Flames. And this is what we talked about during our open when we were just about to drop the puck and start this game. That I certainly felt it. You noticed it. The Red Wings are a team that believes in themselves. It's been a team that has not had an opportunity like this in several seasons, a good handful of seasons, to really make a legitimate playoff push. And, who's to say? If they're able to get a spot, John, there is enough skill on this team that they could give some teams a lot of trouble.
It all comes down to the jet engine that has been Dylan Larkin. I cannot say that enough. Again, I understand it's unfair to put that type of weight on one player. But as I've seen it over the last handful of games, Cooper Hopkins, he's playing like one of the best players in the NHL. And look, let's say it. We want to be a team, whether it's Calgary or Detroit, and they're both in that same spot right now, are very eerily similar, if not. You want to be a team and a player that's in the midst of a playoff push and play meaningful games and impact in those meaningful games. And he's certainly doing that right now.
Yeah, he absolutely is. I mean, neither you nor I had any intention of making this the Dylan Larkin show, but he's doing what he's been doing since he did it in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Apparently, he just bottled that up, and he's carrying it around with him and takes a little sip every night before he gets out on the ice. I'm sure each one of the Flames would love to try that elixir because they can't seem to find it for themselves, but Dylan Larkin certainly has. And he deserves the comments. He deserves us to cover him because it demands attention. It demands respect, and I'm sure the Flames respect it, but it doesn't matter if you respect it. You also have to stop it, and they just haven't been able to.
Yeah, because again, we go into the comments that Darryl Sutter likes to talk about where you give every team that amount of respect, and every game is a different opportunity. And this was an opportunity, again, I'll say it. I'm sure Cooper is tired of me talking about it as I get a look at Dillon Dube's beautiful goal down on the rush. But this is an opportunity where Ville Husso is not a net, and the Red Wings have just played a grueling back-to-back where they just had to play the extra time against the Edmonton Oilers. You got to find the energy. Well, the Wings found the energy in the second period when they had none. What's got to change for Calgary to get it in the third?
Well, let me answer by pointing this out. Let's think about the kind of goals that have been scored so far by both teams. So you just talked about Dube, right? Okay, great. A bit of a lucky bounce coming out of your own zone, with some speed coming through the neutral zone. It's a one-on-one. You happen, and listen, Dillon Dube, we're talking about giving credit. Hey, fast player, skilled player. Dylan Larkin is the guy you're matched up against as he tries to chase you down. You end up beating him by a stride or two and put a beautiful shot over the glove of Hellberg, and that was for the Flames' second goal. So that's an individual play right there, essentially, right? That's not a team breakout. You don't have extended ozone time. You're not set up. You're not cycling. That's one player making one play. The Flames' first goal is a bit of a fluke, right, John? Because that is on the power play for the Wings, so you're shorthanded. You have now a great player for Calgary. He's been arguably their best player this year, Mikael Backlund, most consistent. Okay, he puts a little pressure on Hellberg. He flubs the pass a little bit with the big paddle, and guess who's in position as Backlund takes over with a pass to the crease. All right, Elias Lindholm, he's there. He's able to deflect that home. All right, there we go. There's your breakdown of both the Flames' both goals. So for Detroit, multiple goals have come due to either deliberate penalties by the Flames or inadvertent plays by the Flames, which resulted in man advantage for the Red Wings. So you are capitalizing on your other team's mistakes. You're grinding. If you're Tyler Bertuzzi multiple times, right, you're giving the extra effort when possession could go the other way. If you don't press the gas harder than your opponent, they're going to come away with the puck and potentially set up in the offensive zone. That's the opposite of what Tyler Bertuzzi wants. So he, guess what, digs the puck out, sends it into the crease, goal for the Wings. All right, and then we have power play, the passing that I was talking about, confidence, crisp positioning, players moving into open spaces, drawing the attention of defenders, and pulling them out of the spots where they need to be to make plays die. Guess what? It's going the opposite way. Those plays are alive, and those pucks are in the back of the net. That just feels like different offense to me between the Flames and the Red Wings. The Flames, if they're not relying on those, either a fluke play or an individual play, it's the classic Flames team, John. I know I'm being long-winded here, but maybe it's just a therapy session for me. They just kind of take their opportunities. They put the puck in from the blue line. They're looking for a deflection. They're looking for a tip down low. I understand that's a big part of hockey, but they're not really stepping into open spots. They're not moving particularly quickly, and it's tough to watch because the Red Wings are doing those things. You and I see those with our eyes, and that's what allowed me to answer the question on the YouTube side that the Wings are the better team. They passed the eye test. The Flames just aren't there right now.
Yeah, because I didn't take the long-winded approach as far as breaking down each individual win and loss for the Flames, but to your point, from what I saw, especially from what you brought in and what I also saw on the Twitter side, that they said this: I bet the Flames win on Saturday against the Rangers, but they'll drop both games against Detroit, or they'll drop both games against Chicago. Unfortunately, that is what's happened right now, or what could happen if they don't figure this out in the third period. The Flames will go 0-3-1 against Chicago and Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, the proof is right there. You provide the numbers for us and make it so succinct. That is not, it's just not a recipe for success.
Right.
And I'm looking for the Flames. And this is something we were doing during our first break, or first intermission. Let's look at the calendar. I can't even, as a Flames fan, I can't even trust that when the Flyers come to town, and the Flyers are down right now to the Seattle Kraken, right, which is what you would expect. Kraken having a solid season, solid team. The Flyers are a team that should be beaten by teams that are of the caliber of a Seattle, of a Calgary, et cetera, et cetera. At this point, can you really, with confidence, say, oh, okay, the Philadelphia Flyers are coming to Calgary, that's going to be a 4-1 win for Calgary? Do you think could you say that right now?
I can't say it confidently, Cooper, but I want to go forward because I'm looking at the schedule right now. So after the Rangers, we'll do that game on Saturday. At least I'll be there for you if Cooper's not able to join. But then it's Philadelphia and Arizona. And you think that those ones that you have to get. Here's what follows, and this is in order, folks. Vegas, Colorado, Boston, Toronto, Minnesota, Dallas, and Minnesota.
Good luck. I mean, okay, that's a little reductive. Of course, I'm being facetious, but John, that is a gauntlet right there. And if you don't come away, okay, can you run that down? Run that down for me one more time. Let's go through it.
Okay, so we're not counting Philadelphia and Arizona after the Rangers, right? So we're going to leave that outside. So here's what's upcoming in the gauntlet: Vegas, Colorado, Boston, Toronto, Minnesota, Dallas, and Minnesota.
Okay, so if I remember correctly here, it's like a memory game for me. I'm old now, so help me. Vegas, Colorado, Boston.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that is, so you just ran through, was that 7 or 8 games in the gauntlet?
That's like 8 games, yeah.
8 games, okay, 7 or 8, so yeah. All right. So you have a maximum total. We've done this before, John, with Calgary and other teams too. Let's just talk about the points. Let's just do like hypothetical math. So you have a maximum there of 14 points, right? Vegas, Colorado, Boston. I think you are successful if you come away. So that's 6 potential points. I think you're successful if you come away with 3. Do you agree with that?
I agree. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's take this section by section. Give me what are the next 3 games after the Boston game?
Toronto, Minnesota, Dallas.
Okay. So Dallas playing extremely well right now. I think they have the highest point total in the Western Conference as of tonight. Toronto looks good. And Minnesota, also a solid team, still fighting for playoff positioning. I think you need to get probably, let's say Dallas does what Dallas has done to many teams this year. Let's take the L with Dallas. So it's basically you're having to upset Toronto and then probably win a close game against Minnesota. So would you say successful 4 points in those 3 games?
Yeah, I think you got to steal one. You're right on, dude.
Yeah, okay, and then let's close it out. So what are the last 2 or 3 after that?
So then it's just Minnesota, Anaheim, Ottawa.
Okay, all right. So then, yeah, once we get to that second Minnesota game, you absolutely have to take at least one of those 2. So let's say Dallas, you lose the Dallas game, and we're working reverse chronologically here. Let's say you lose the Dallas game. If you lose the Minnesota game, hopefully you get it into overtime. Maybe you get the extra point there. If you lose that first game, and then you play Dallas, you have to beat Minnesota outright in regulation.
Yeah.
Right? You need to take them out and keep them from getting points too, because at a certain juncture, John, and this is the case for a lot of teams, other than those that are really separating themselves from the pack, not only are you thinking about the points that you're earning, you have to prevent others behind you.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm glad that you broke that down and we actually put that in the truth in front of, because who is behind Calgary with the same amount of points in the wild card? It's Minnesota, and you get to play them twice. That is essentially, I wouldn't even say a 4-point swing. That's an 8-point swing. That's points that you're taking away from the other team if they don't get it.
Right, and listen, and you and I have been doing this long enough. We've seen different versions of this Calgary Flames team. This iteration of the team, this season's Calgary Flames, we are actually being optimistic by projecting them out to those Minnesota games, right, which is split by the Dallas contest, that they will still be in a similar position, regardless of whatever the actual number of points are that the teams have. Of course, it's going to be higher, but we're projecting them out, saying, okay, the Flames can at minimum keep their spot. They're going to be in or close to wild card 2, and Minnesota will be at or close to wild card 2. I mean, I think I don't mean to be overly negative. I just do think it's slightly optimistic to say that we can automatically put the Flames in that same spot. If they run through the first part of that gauntlet and if they lose, which may happen, they might lose 5 games in a row. They might get knocked out of it right there.
Yeah, and that could come right down to the point where we're in late February, and we're going to be talking about a spot that they might not be able to come back from. And you're really correct about that. You're trying to stop teams you're also chasing. You're also trying to stop them from getting points. You can't say that any better than you already did, Cooper. You absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm just taking my notes from you and your coverage through the years, my friend. And so just trying to have my candle burn as bright as yours. And in terms of, oh my gosh, I have to just point this out. Got to give credit to the Flames fan who I just happened to see in the background of the Sportsnet intermission show wearing a Yager jersey.
Love it.
Cap to you, my friend.
He's still going strong, and Kalano scoring goals. I think he's like, 55 now or something like that. So, yeah, he's still killing it.
I will say I do feel fortunate that I got to see one of the relatively few games that Yager played in a Flames jersey. I was able to watch him when the Flames came to Los Angeles and what was then the Staples Center. So that was pretty exciting. But, yeah, John, just to wrap up our thoughts about the Flames and their near future here, we talked about points that we're going to earn, points that other teams are trying to steal away. This is a game that we have right in front of us. It's a 4-2 game for a team that is, yeah, sure, they're behind you right now in the standings, but want to talk about a 4-point swing, this is one right here. Even though a couple teams separate them, the Red Wings get themselves right into the thick of the conversation, and the Flames effectively drop out of a playoff spot, you would think, depending on how the math shakes out. But the Red Wings making a real solid push right here, and I have to mentally prepare myself to possibly root for the Red Wings in the playoffs for the first time in quite some time, John.
I don't know how far we're going to go, but if I actually do get a chance to get a playoff broadcast of my own team, since we've been doing these, I think even the voice will go up even more octaves. It might sound like a soprano.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, you've got to let the excitement flow, my friend. I mean, and when you put it that way, I realize how fortunate I've been to be able to call not only, really exciting regular season games featuring Calgary, but of course we covered playoff hockey with the Flames featured in that, and I always reference it because it was so exciting, that 7-game series against Dallas last year. But you know what? Yeah, it's time. And listen, I'm excited by the prospect of the Wings bouncing some what I would call regular performers in the playoffs, bouncing one or two of those teams out of the way, grabbing a spot for themselves, and just rolling the dice. And hopefully we can both be on board for that. I would love to be on a call with you while you're doing coverage of the Wings in the playoffs. What an exciting time that would be.
I really appreciate that, man. And we know when it gets to in the playoffs, for everyone that's listening between Twitter Spaces or after on the podcast or on the YouTube side, Cooper and I are going to be in the playoffs. I'm actually going to have him call some of the other NHL games as well. I know I kind of took the front driver's seat as far as when it wasn't the Flames, but I do want to get you to have some of those full calls, and we'll definitely split the period side. But I think about what Steve Yzerman wanted. Yes, this wasn't the start of the season that he wanted, but the Red Wings could have a season-high 5-game win streak right in the middle of February, and they're right in the playoff hunt with games in hand. Isn't this exactly what you sign up for? You want to win games like these and also win games that you probably shouldn't be winning. Because I did notice on the Red Wings Twitter account, there was a couple fans that said, "Oh, don't even think that you're going to beat Edmonton last night." And the Red Wings account just said, "Oops."
Oops, indeed. My gosh, that's what the Flames are saying right now when they get back onto the ice. I'm sure they're trying to put it out of their mind, but they're going to look up at that big scoreboard and see that they're down, getting doubled up by the Red Wings at home. This is a huge third period, John. I don't think it's overly dramatic to say this is a really big period in both these teams' seasons.
It is, and I'm just going to say the obvious one is going to do the obvious color announcement as we get to the third period here pretty soon. Flames need to get this next goal, because if they go down by 3, Cooper, I don't think this is the Flame team that we've seen. Outside of that, tremendous game against Buffalo. And man, I should have texted you right after that. I was like, who is this Flames team? But outside of that, if they go down by 3 against the Red Wings, I think this could be over.
Yeah, I think you're right. And as I think about specific performances, I think that it's going to take Jonathan Huberdeau not only playing well and being noticeable. I mean, listen, we have covered this extensively, John, because of the number of times that we do play-by-play and analysis for Flames games. We're not trying to put all of the responsibility on number 10's shoulders. But when it's time to perform, and you know that a special performance, a special moment could change the trajectory of the year for your squad,
yeah,
that's when you got to see it from those big players. And he's been around it tonight. I think he's got to find the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll throw it the same way for number 71 on the other side. You want to get paid like a $10 million player, you got to perform. Right now, he's performing. Jonathan Huberdeau, I think he needs to get a goal and an assist in this game. Again, I go back to it in the sense of the Atlantic Division where he played 4 times. Him and Mackenzie Weegar, I can't press that button enough. You know the Red Wings, what's in front of you. Go out there and get it done.
No question about it. And as we're getting set here for the third period, we're just looking at some of those goals scored by the Red Wings. The Flames have to take away their passing lanes. They have to improve their defensive positioning, which unfortunately has gotten worse as the game has gone on, I would say. So hopefully, as I say before, hopefully somebody said something to someone in that Flames dressing room, because it's time to take action. And now is the opportunity, because, John, as I get back into the play-by-play call here, and thank you for giving me that home ice advantage, as you've been calling it, the Flames do have a man advantage on the ice, and the puck has been dropped here. Zamboni has successfully completed its mission. The ice is nice and fresh here at the Scotiabank Saddledome. It's 4-2 Detroit, 20 shots for each team, and we are about 15 seconds into this third period with 1 minute and 12 to go in the Flames power play. So here comes Dillon Dube streaking up the ice. He has that second goal for Calgary. He dumps this one into the trapezoid behind Hellberg, gets the puck back, and now shovels it to Toffoli. Toffoli gets that over to Andersson. Now back to Toffoli into the high slot. Dube turns this one around. There's a shot right there. I think that one went off the post potentially, maybe off of the shoulder of Hellberg. Either way, it's kept out. So there's a good opportunity here early in this third period. Flames doing a nice job of holding the puck down low. A shot on from Backlund. And that one was tailored for the 5-hole, but it hits the paddle and stays out. So Mikael Backlund continues his hot game, and it is a minute gone here in the third period. 30 seconds to go here in this power play for the home team. So Nazem Kadri on the ice now. The lines have been changed. Calgary has possession in their offensive end. Puck at the right point. It's on the stick of Noah Hannafin. Gets it back to Kadri. Kadri from the circle looks for that cross-ice pass. Hits some skates in the traffic and bounces to the far corner. Bouncing puck comes back to Hannafin. Nice job corralling that. Takes it back from Kadri. Now over to Weegar. Weegar, the former Florida Panther, gets this down low. Now the Flames have it up in the circle. That one hits someone down low. It didn't actually get to Hellberg. Hannafin has it again. Really good extended time right here, but the Flames turn the puck over as the penalty expires. So a couple of opportunities and some nice ozone time, John, but no goals to speak of. And now a minute and 45 seconds have elapsed here in this final period of regulation. Flames do get 2 shots with the extra man on the ice. Now coming up the right side, former Tampa Bay Lightning man, as John pointed out earlier, that's Blake Coleman. The Coleman turns the puck over trying to find Huberdeau, and the Red Wings will clear. This bounces all the way back down to Vladar. He handles it awkwardly, leaves it out just to the right of the cage, and the Red Wings will take over for a moment. Now there's a puck battle down in the near corner. Puck slides back around to the near post of Vladar. I actually lost track of that one momentarily. Luckily, the Flames goaltender did not. He puts the big glove on top and gets a stoppage.
I was just going to say that too, because on the previous play, if it wasn't for Ben Schrock getting a body down onto the right post, that probably would have slipped past Hellberg, and Calgary had some pretty good puck possession to open this third period on the power play. They just didn't get one yet.
Yeah, that's a great point. Right as you were describing that, it's almost like you were narrating, John. I got the replay on the Sportsnet side. Schrock with an excellent shot block right there. It did seem labeled to go up over the shoulder of Hellberg, but big number 8 in white gets that one up and out of the crease. So the puck is now behind Dan Vladar, where it's sent around and picked up by the Wings. Unfortunate bounce right there for the Flames, but they will get it back a moment later. And now it's skated out by Mangiapane, but his cross-ice pass is tipped away. And guess who has it? Look out now. It's Dylan Larkin. So the Red Wings not messing around. They have their skill players out right now. And Dillon Dube tries to poke check Larkin. Larkin basically laughs that off and gets the puck deep for the Red Wings. But the Flames will eventually take over and now try to break out of their own zone. Here's a turnover. Luckily, the Flames do have numbers back. Good job right there to continue some defensive responsibility right there. Milan Lucic gets the puck in the offensive zone. He was dumped down to the ice. Now in the far corner, Jake Wallman tries to hold. He's able to do so. Red Wings can't skate it out. It's shot off of somebody's back, bounces to the near half boards. Trying to keep the puck in right there is Brett Ritchie. He's unable to do so. The Flames will go for a change. Red Wings will take over with Moritz Seider. And the Red Wings will break out of their own end. Back to Seider now. Seider goes for that stretch pass. It actually hits Michael Stone, I believe, at the far blue line. Here come the Flames. We have a hand up in the air. No, it looked like a delayed offside call and was not touched by Calgary. So with 16:15 to go here in the third period, the puck is held right there by the Wings in the trapezoid. That's Filip Hronek. And here comes Detroit. The puck fluttered through the neutral zone. And now a chance right here for the Wings in the circle. That one's shot under the right pad of Dan Vladar. And John, that next goal did not go the Flames' way. It is 5-2 Detroit.
The only time you're going to hear me say anything about Dan Vladar, as that's one that he has to have, and Pius Suter gives the Red Wings a 3-goal lead. That's exactly what can't happen for Calgary. It's Zadina, Pius Suter off the spin pass, and he just shoots at 5-1 and beats Vladar. He's got to have that one, Cooper.
Yeah, absolutely. I really didn't want to put too much of the responsibility of the way things have gone for Calgary tonight on Dan Vladar. He's been left out to dry a couple of times and had a couple of unlucky situations and undisciplined situations by the team in front of him while on the penalty kill. But that one right there is on him, and it is now 5-2 Detroit. They are starting to pull away. Although there's 15:50 to go here in the third, the Flames haven't been able to do all that much with the time they've had so far in this game. Now, Mackenzie Weegar tries to get the puck deep in the O-zone, but it goes the opposite direction. And this is an icing against the Wings as Chris Tanev is down and play is whistled dead. So, boy, oh boy, John, you said it was going to be very important. The Flames needed to cut that lead in half. Well, guess what? Now they have to get 3 just to tie it.
The Red Wings have 21 goals now in the last 4 games when this is done, if they don't get any more. Wasn't it last week that we just talked about finishing? Where has it been? Well, it's been here now.
Yeah, they are doing just that, and unfortunately, since the end of the first period, and I mean the last couple or 3 minutes of that first period, the Flames have really been fading in this game, and unfortunately, it is not a good look. And Flames Twitter, I'm sure, will be abuzz if they aren't already. Now, here's a far post shot by the Wings. That one, I think, was just tipped away by the blocker of Vladar. It may have gone wide anyway, but either way, it stays out. Still 5-2. There's a wrister ripped right on by Calgary. Couldn't get a number on that. Guess who? Mikael Backlund. He continues an excellent run of play. That one was a tough shot, but turned aside by Hellberg. So the Flames, more offensive zone time. Nikita Zadorov gets this one to the far boards. Mikael Backlund picks up right there where he is separated from the puck. Nice job on checking right there by Tyler Bertuzzi. Lo and behold, number 59, doing the grinder's work. So he's somebody, I think he's in line for one of the 3 stars of the game right now, John, the way he's played. 14 minutes and 35 seconds to go here in the third. Cooper Hopkins on play-by-play in this third period, along with John Ott. He's got the analysis covered for us. And the Red Wings have the Flames completely covered right now. It's 5-2, my friend.
Again, if we talked about it between last week and now, this would be a situation I'd be completely perplexed about what I'm seeing, but I do have to give my own team credit. A possible 5-game win streak is the most they've had this season. They've actually looked really good over this stretch.
Yeah, they definitely have, and you give that credit, absolutely. I want you to, because they have earned it. 21 shots for Detroit, 5 have gone in. 24 for Calgary, just 2 have gone in. And that is typically the case for this Flames team. Now a shot comes out from the blue line by the Red Wings. Nice job right there, stepping back in, holding possession, and getting the puck over to Seider. Seider tries to send it down low, but the puck is shuttled right back to him. Now he's going to fire one. That one goes wide. Dan Vladar, a little bit out of position right there, but gets back tight to the post. Now the puck at the half boards, going to be chipped along by Dube. Again, had that beautiful wrister that made it 2 goals for the Flames. That is the last goal they have scored so far. Now carried in right there, stepping right to left. Good job by Robbie Fabry. He has had a nice game, including putting one past Dan Vladar. So keep an eye on number 14 in white as the puck bounces all the way to the Detroit Red Wings side of the ice. And in this third period, they are moving left to right on your radio dial. Flames moving right to left here at the Scotiabank Saddledome in Calgary, Alberta. Now Rasmus Andersson, the Swedish defenseman for the Flames, has the puck in the far corner. Bit of a turnover right there, but just kind of a bouncing puck. No possession held consistently by either team at this moment. Noah Hannafin comes away with it in the trapezoid. And Brett Ritchie will take the puck, tries to snap this one forward. The puck does go to center ice, but here come the Red Wings back the other way. It's Filip Zadina, and that one shot on, has to be turned aside by Vladar, but relatively comfortably. So now 7 minutes are gone, John, in this third period. Time starting to become a real factor. Flames have not been able to create consistent offensive scoring opportunities for themselves. They're going to have to change that, turn this game on its head if they want to get back in this thing, and they only have 12:50 to do so. So it's 5-2 Red Wings. We'll reiterate that once again. They have looked good, the Red Wings have, really throughout this game, starting at the end of the first period, I should say. Now Nazem Kadri with a rebound attempt. That one was a super tough angle, and he sent that one behind the net. So Kadri really just trying to take anything right there, and the puck ends up back on the stick of the Red Wings, but the Flames in their own end are able to chip this one back to the neutral zone. Now Kadri, who's still out on the ice, holds near the circle. Zadorov now has the puck. He's now down low. Far corner, going to cycle this one around behind Hellberg, holding the puck. Going to chip it back down to Kadri. Now Kadri to Huberdeau. We said Huberdeau has to get involved, has to get on the score sheet. Now Kadri with the puck, tries to hand it off to Tanev, and it's a turnover. Coming the other way for Detroit is Berggren, although he's checked off the puck right there by, I believe, Weegar near the Flames players bench. So a good job right there of stopping a 2-on-2 situation. But it's got to be offense number 1 on the Flames list. They can't just keep playing defense. And even when they do play defense, it hasn't been enough because they're down by 3. Under 12 minutes to go here in the third period. Chris Tanev with a backhand pass to Mikael Backlund. Backlund has been the Flames' best player tonight. You can give Dube all this credit for his score, but now I have to interrupt myself as here comes Dillon Larkin streaking down the left wing. It was a 3-on-2, but a good job by Rasmus Andersson, the Flames defenseman, to cut that puck off and take over in his own end. So the Flames now have it at the center red line, taken by Hannafin, but Hannafin off to cycle back as he was going to take on 3 Red Wings all by himself. Elias Lindholm, the half-hearted shot right there, didn't really get anywhere meaningful. And Lindholm will chase it down to the far corner. Flames are able to hold the zone right here, though. Now here comes Zadorov. He snaps one on, and that was deflected off of the shin pad of Lindholm, unfortunately just wide of the net. That was the Flames' best opportunity of this third period. And Tyler Toffoli goes for a Johnny Gaudreau, as I like to call it, a super sharp angle shot, and that one handcuffs Hellberg. So a big rebound comes out, and now a shot from distance near the blue line by Dube bounces off of a stick and up into the netting. So we finally get a break here, John.
So again, what I'm just not seeing, I know we've covered this enough, but for these fans that are new on the Twitter Spaces, YouTube side, wherever you end up listening, for the Flames, I'm just not seeing the propensity to be able to get in the middle of the slot, get some of these other chances, to force Magnus Hellberg to make any more of a save than maybe an outside shot between the left or right pad. For the Red Wings, it's been a completely different story. I understand, as we talked about a little bit in the second period, you do want to have some traffic out in front and get some screens occasionally, but you also need to be able to work to get into the dirty areas to create plays if you want to score goals. And Calgary just hasn't done that in this game for me.
Oh, sorry about that, John. I didn't realize that this is what happened at the very beginning of the broadcast, was tapping on the old phone screen and didn't get the response that I was expecting. But you know what? Yeah, you make a great assessment right there. And I don't think, based on the way this game has gone, frankly, it becomes very simple. I don't think there is enough time left. Even if the Flames really are able to turn the tables and turn the tide, I think the Wings have looked strong enough for more of this game. Even if there's a really solid pushback by Calgary, they've created a 3-goal cushion for themselves. I know things can change very quickly, especially in the National Hockey League, but we just have to look at what is being shown to us by these two teams.
Right.
Even if things really do flip 180, just do a 180-degree turn, I think you need at least a full period, if not more, if you're the Flames, to turn this thing around. But I don't want to be completely dismissive. If they get one in the next minute or two, maybe 3, then we might change the conversation. But for now, you and I certainly agree.
No, I'm with you. I don't want to sit and give the Red Wings a ton of credit as far as stopping some of these opportunities and some chances. Yeah, they had some shot blocks, but I think other teams, especially when you have the lead, they're more than okay to have the other team go out and just keep shots from the outside circles.
Yeah, an excellent point. And there's a shot right on off the face-off. The Flames, after the TV timeout right there, get a nice face-off win and put one right on to Hellberg. That is their 28th shot. But Hellberg was up to the task and turned it aside. And the Flames now, as they've done, this is something we said throughout the game, John, decent possession for Calgary. They hold it in their own end. They're able to chip this one down where it is held in. So the Flames, again, they're doing a nice job of doing everything but really creating those final high-danger chances and finishing, which is the most critical part of an offensive game. So we are halfway through the third period. Moritz Seider has the puck behind his goaltender. He will take a few deep breaths as Trevor Lewis has his eye on him. LaLonde also out on the ice for the Calgary Flames. And there's a nice stretch pass from Seider. A couple players go down and neutral ice. The opportunity goes begging for Detroit as they had things down low just to Bladar's right. And the Red Wings will come away with it, holding down low, now back out to the left point. The Flames are able to take over. That's Milan Lucic who ends up with the puck on his stick. Good job on that shift right there by Filip Hronek. He's had a pretty solid game for the Red Wings as well. Now Lucic gets as much speed as he can. There's a wraparound shot right there that I'm not sure made its way all the way to Hellberg. There was some traffic in front. But a nice job by Milan Lucic to make the most of the room that he was given. And now we are 9 minutes away from this game ending in a 5-2 loss for the Flames. 29 shots for the home team, 22 for the visiting Wings. The puck is bounced all the way off of the kick plate, all the way to the blue line. Flames try to dump it in from there. We're going to have a 2-on-2 the other way. Now it's a partial break, but closed down decently by Zadorov. Now all of a sudden he's out of position. The Flames are able to catch a loose puck, though, and come back the other way with it. That's Jonathan Huberdeau who picked it up. And now skating into that circle area are the Flames. That was Nazem Kadri. He sends it back to the blue line where Michael Stone's going to fire one. Looks for a deflection. Pelletier was down low and couldn't get it on net. Huberdeau now has it in the far corner. Pelletier will come away with it. There's a shot from the high slot. Huberdeau was in a good position to deflect that one in off the stick shaft, but I don't think he made contact. So, again, the Flames just keep going back to the well, John. They're looking for deflections at every chance they get an opportunity. The opportunities are starting to increase, but their success rate has not whatsoever. Now the Red Wings will take over in their own end. Guess who? It's Moritz Seider. Getting some ice time in this third period, trying to lock this game down and get 2 points for his team. And the stretch pass misses everyone, so I think we're going to get an icing right here. Play his whistle down, John. What have you liked so far in this third period from the Red Wings defense? I mean, they're doing everything to keep the Flames off the score sheet, and they've done so.
Yeah, like we said, they're keeping the shots from the outside. I want to, because we get time in the commercial break, I want to do a play breakdown here. So Jonathan Huberdeau is going to get this puck in the middle of the neutral zone off a steal, and then he's going to go full jets all the way to the net. I understand the Flames are down 3 goals. I understand there's about a half a period left to go, but I also think you need to be able to take some chances. Off a great play from Huberdeau like that, I'd like to see a stretch pass, an opportunity for him to get something going. But instead, Calgary goes back into their sets, and another minute and a half, and the clock goes off.
Yeah, I feel like we're in broken record territory. And I don't mean you, I mean me. So I'm putting us, I'm responsible for putting us in broken record territory, where I think enough of this season has elapsed. I can't believe, I think I would be foolish to believe that the Flames are ever going to really have things completely click into place this year. They win one game 7-2, and then they come back the next game and they lose to a team at the bottom of the standings by 2 goals. And then they are able to pick up a hard-fought win, get an overtime win.
Right.
And then the next game they'll come back and lose a game like this, where you'd think it would be much closer. Last week the game was much closer. It certainly could have gone either way. Ends up a 2-1 win for Detroit. But this one, Detroit is just skating away with it. And I don't know if I can confidently say the Flames are going to find their formula this year. They may still get some wins. They may even find themselves in a playoff spot. But it's just never clicking at 100%. And I'd be hard-pressed to say that it will.
Yeah, for as many games that I've done here with you, it's just I see the same team streak down the ice all the time. And that's what gets frustrating for. There's no differentiating as far as their signs of attack.
Yeah, and it's about their style of play, too. Here's a Wings team that's coming off. This is a back-to-back and the backup goaltender. Yet they're losing 5-2. And there's an opportunity in front right there that's turned aside by Hellberg. So the action has resumed here, but we only have 7:40 to go in the third. So the shot count keeps going up for Calgary, as it often does in their games. But also, as it often does in their games, the count of goals remains at 2. And that's not enough when your opponent has 5. So here's Rasmus Andersson. He tries to turn on his jets, as John was just saying about Huberdeau, and Rasmus will opt to dump this one in, where Blake Coleman tries to chase down, but he won't come away with it. The Wings are able to chip this back to center ice. Puck is behind Tanev, has to sort of spin around on those skates a bit awkwardly, but keeps his balance, and he's able to get it up to the Flames now in the offensive zone. There's a bouncing puck that Hellberg saves and turns aside. Now Toffoli tries to go 5-hole, but great positioning by the Red Wings netminder, and he keeps that out. So Toffoli's had a couple of angled shots right there as that puck comes from the blue line. Boy, the Flames just keep pressing that button. Distant shots that are deflected. They're forcing the Red Wings to ice this puck more frequently, but Hellberg has been up to the task, and they just can't get a lot of clean looks. And they're relying on stick blades, skates, and legs, but Hellberg has kept things out, and the positioning of those defenders, as you pointed out, has been excellent. It's going to be another face-off in the offensive zone for Calgary, but do we really think anything's going to come of it?
No, that's what it is for me. It's going to be 29 saves for Hellberg right now as the puck gets cleared all the way down, but it's going to look like lofty numbers. But again, these are just shots from long distance. You got to get in close and make something happen.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's Nikita Zadorov. He tries to get close, and he drops off to one of his teammates. The shot bounces off of a body and up high into the air. It does stay in play, though. So this third period absolutely flying by, John. Just 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go here as the puck is deflected in by David Perron. Flames will come away with it, though. And you can see that the Red Wings, as we get a stoppage here with the puck up into the players' bench or potentially into the stands, either way, with the play stopped, you can see that the Red Wings, for the most part, are going into, I wouldn't say a shell mode, but it's definitely defense first, right? We're not seeing a lot of high-speed breakouts. We're not seeing risky passes. With this kind of lead, you think that's the right strategy to take?
I do, because it's 6:14 left. The shots are 13-2 in this period in favor of Calgary, but it's not really that dangerous. So I think you're kind of playing into Detroit's hands.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, Jacob Pelche on the ice for the Flames, along with Rasmus Andersson, they can't connect, though, as the puck bounces over Andersson's stick. So inside 6 to go now. The Wings lose sight of the puck. This one bounces into the Flames' defensive zone with one of the Wings already in the area. So we'll get a bit of a weird offside call right there and one of the last TV timeouts of tonight's game. So we get a little break here, John. Anything on your mind before we wrap things up, because it looks like this game is going to end 5-2.
This is a curious one. It's going to be off the shoot, but every time behind Darryl Sutter, they're zooming in on a fan that has a number 90 St. Louis Blues jersey. I wonder which one that is. I got to look that up now.
Oh yeah, we got to do some research here because this, something that I did notice is that despite the inconsistent play from this Flames team this year, the Calgary fan base is so solid. I'm happy to count myself among them. Obviously, I wish I were up there more often to be able to see games at the Saddle Dome. But I wonder, this actually crossed my mind before the scoreline became the way that it is. I just wonder if we're still going to see sellouts throughout the remainder of this year. Now, of course, even with the loss, the Flames are still very much in the playoff conversation. And it's contingent upon their play as we get to that gauntlet that John and I broke down in the second intermission. But I wonder if things really start to slip, if that team belief that's growing for a team like the Red Wings continues to diminish for Calgary and their play suffers as a result. I just wonder, even with the passionate fans in Calgary, if you're going to see some empty seats eventually.
And that makes me wonder, too, there's got to be a trade or something coming to uplift this team. But again, at the same time, as you talked about, if it's not going to change the type of game plan and Calgary is going to continue to do what they do, yeah, they're going to win some games because their back-end defense is good. They might get some stuff here and there, but I just don't see a lot changing right now. And I'm not speaking to this, and Cooper and I aren't speaking to this in just one game in particular. This has been multiple games that we've done this where you beat teams like Colorado and then you drop games against the Chicago Blackhawks. It makes you crazy.
Yeah, it does. And, you can't rely on your opponent just having an off night and you playing your average game and hoping to get a win. Sometimes you really got to turn it up and step in as we have action back underway here. Jacob Pelche got clipped in the hand right there on a bouncing puck, tried to play that with the stick out of the air. Now he's down at the far boards. Flames trying to get at least one here, make a game of it as Rasmus Andersson was down in the low slot and Kadri's shot was right on. The deflection was a nice one, but it goes just wide. So the Flames miss an opportunity right there. It's on the doorstep. Somehow the Flames don't score right there. That would have been Pelche's second of his professional career in the NHL, but he is denied as well. So the Wings doing what they need to do. It's definitely bend, don't break as they come the other way. Rasmus Andersson gets turned around right there. He's with Dominik Kubalik of the Red Wings. Now coming the other way. Going right to left is Jonathan Huberdeau looking for support. Has Kadri. Kadri steps inside. There's a shot right on, and Helber answers again. He's had a fantastic game, John.
Well, they've certainly heard both of us, haven't they, Cooper? Because the last two times down the ice, it was Calgary right in the middle of the slot. It was Rasmus Andersson with almost deflection. Kadri drives the play, and a good drop pass there in the middle of the slot as Pelche had an opportunity that went right through the blue paint, and the second opportunity just went wide of the left post. That's what you want to see from Calgary.
Yep, and it's unfortunately with 5:01 to go in the third. Unfortunately, I should say, it may be too little, too late, and that's generous. It almost certainly is. You like to see your young player continue to drive the net and try to make plays regardless of the circumstances. That being Jacob Pelche, and Nazem Kadri as well showed some skill right there, but nothing to show for it ultimately. So now we are inside 5 minutes. Mackenzie Weegar's on the ice for Calgary, but the puck is with the Wings right now. They're at the C at center ice when one of the Wings goes down. I think that was Andrew Copp. So the Flames will have it momentarily, but then they turn it over. Now here comes Detroit the other way. They won't try to break this one in. That was Robbie Fabry with the backhand, dumping it down low and just forcing the Flames to use more of that clock. Mackenzie Weegar still out on the ice for Calgary. Long shift for him. 14 shots this period for Calgary, just 2 for Detroit. So that speaks to the strategies we were talking about just a couple of minutes ago, John, as Elias Lindholm throws the body. down low to Hellberg's right. The Flames can't keep the puck in the ozone, though. Zadorov does have it, so the Flames will chip this one down low. Inside 4 minutes now. The backhand pass right there goes to Sutter. Sutter's going to cross-ice this one. It's now on the left wing. Here comes Detroit. Going to try to set up a scoring opportunity right there. It's an awkward save by Vladar. He's able to turn that shot aside from the wing. But there's a steal and a turnover. It's a breakaway. And going backhand to forehand. I couldn't get a number, John. I apologize. One of the wings right there, I think it might have been Zadina, who's definitely had a great game. He lost the handle just at the last second. Probably should be 6-2. So 3 minutes, 24 seconds to go now. This thing is basically a foregone conclusion, my friend. So we can start the celebrations if you're a Michigander. The Flames are running out of opportunities. They are running out of seconds on the clock. They do have 34 shots, but just the 2 goals. So the Wings now, with possession, they're going to kill some time, just connect some passes. This one, of course, as I expected to connect a pass, it does not connect. It floats all the way down to Vladar's right. Noah Hannafin's on the puck now. He's able to get that one to Trevor Lewis. Here comes Rasmus Andersson the other way. He's on his off wing. Gets it over to Lucic. Lucic is going to try to center this one into the crease. And there's a mess of bodies there in the blue paint. Rasmus Andersson goes down at the far boards. Now the puck is stolen. It's a one-on-one the other way. 52 on 52. Berggren and Weegar. Weegar gets the best of Berggren with a nice body check right there. Just cancels him out of the play. But the body checks do not result in goals, my friend. And now Nazem Kadri takes the puck. He's going to try to skate this one forward and find Peltier. Nice pass idea, but in practice it just results in a turnover right there as Huberdeau tries to chase it down, but the Wings will chip this one out. Momentarily, Flames hold the blue line. Just over 2 minutes to go here. Kubalik on the puck at the center red line where he shovels it all the way back down to Dan Vladar. Vladar stops the puck with his paddle and leaves it for Chris Tanev. Chris Tanev now goes to Backlund. Backlund tries to streak in on the left side, takes a shot, and this one goes off of Seider's skate and up into the safety netting.
Well, it certainly looks like it's going to hold in a minute 56, as unfortunately, you might have to have the rest of this thing without me, because let's see if this loads back up. But the Red Wings will take 8 out of 11 right now as they're trying to make room in the standings. Looks like I got the TV feed back, so crisis averted.
Oh, excellent. Okay, that's good to know. And technology, sometimes it's our friend, sometimes not so great. And it looks like Berggren was a little banged up there on the bench, but he did not have to go to the room after taking that hit from Weegar about a minute ago. Now, there's a shot from way out by Zadorov, and it's actually up off of a skate. It was floating in the air and slapped away by one of the Red Wings defensemen. So with about 90 seconds to play here, John, it wouldn't be one of our hockey games if we didn't have a stick bouncing around on the ice. We certainly do. And now a puck is bouncing. It's bouncing all the way down to Dan Vladar's left. It's shoveled back across. And now a deflection between the legs right there by Hronek.
Oh.
And that could have made it 6-2. That was a beautiful tic-tac-toe play right there. The Flames are going to lose this game, but boy, at least it's not going to be 6-2. That would have been a highlight deflection, my friend. So 1 minute and 5 seconds to go here before all is said and done. The Flames try to carry in. They cannot do so at the Red Wings blue line, but it's held by Hannafin. 35 shots for the Flames. Will it be higher? I'm not sure if the goal total will be higher. Again, 5-2 Red Wings as we see the seats clear out. And now breaking out is Filip Zadina. He was on that backhand forehand attempt just a few minutes ago, and now here's a shot from the high slot, but a bit of a whiff right there. And now inside 40 seconds, Tyler Toffoli floats this one down low. And I think the Flames and the Wings both know that the writing is not just on the wall, it is etched in stone, sir. 5-2 will likely be your final with 25 seconds to play here. There is a turnover picked up by Calgary at the blue line, although the Red Wings will battle for the puck in the far corner. And the Wings continue to battle. Time ticks off the clock. Milan Lucic comes away with it. There's a bit of a shot from him. Way outside. John, I thought he was going to make a goal call. I think that may have hit the post. So 5-2 could have been 5-3 if Tyler Toffoli would have scored, if Jonathan Huberdeau would have gotten on the board, if Peltier would have put that puck in from the blue paint. It might have been a different final, but ultimately, my friend, the result is the same. The Detroit Red Wings shut the Flames out in their season series. They take both wins in back-to-back weeks. The first by a score of 2-1, and tonight your final 5-2 from the Scotiabank Saddledome.
Well, this is a full admission from me. Cooper Hopkins is one of my very best friends in the world. I apologize. You don't have to play the Red Wings anymore, my friend.
Boy, I will accept that apology, not because you should feel bad about winning, but because, oh my goodness, I just feel sad about the Flames' prospects for the rest of this season. I mean, listen, Detroit is a solid team this year. They're a different team than they've been in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
They're an exciting team. I'm glad I've gotten to see their skill and their grit. Tyler Bertuzzi is a great example. His play tonight. Zadina, excellent stuff. And Dylan Larkin, listen, his play speaks for itself. We covered it extensively. And so if the Flames aren't able to right the ship, because things do seem a little leaky in southern Alberta these days, if they're not able to get themselves on a course to lock in a playoff spot and they fall out, you know who I will be rooting for without question.
Well, I appreciate that, but as we talked about in the second intermission about the games that are upcoming, these are the games that we knew that the Flames had to get. The Red Wings got both of them because this next Saturday game going to be on the call between the Flames and the Rangers. And in between the Rangers, you got a couple against Minnesota, you got Dallas, you got Vegas, you got Boston. So something has to change. So goaltending, they have to find that for the Flames. They got to find some astute chances, maybe get something going on near the deadline. There is a lot to file along as far as paperwork is considered, Cooper, as you said. And if you're not getting up for games like these, when you're playing against those big boys over the next week and a half, I mean, this is going to get dicey.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, here's what I hope for Calgary at this point. And congratulations to your team. The Wings look good. I think they're playing good at a really important time of the year. And they showed some of their best game in terms of just overall play in this contest against Calgary tonight. So here's what I'm hoping for both teams. I want to see the Wings continue to make a push. I know that's a pretty basic statement, but use this to continue to fuel the belief that a playoff spot should be yours if you're Detroit. And for Calgary, I think you have to do two things. One, you immediately put this behind you. You do not think about this after you go home tonight. You discuss whatever you need to discuss at the end of this game, which has come now. You go to the room, you get out of your skates, you put away the equipment. This game is never to be thought of again. And the second half of that, you treat this Rangers game just like you did, if you're the Flames, when you played them coming out of the All-Star break. That was one of the best regular season games that we have seen in a long time, John. I think the Flames can find that level again. I think they can win that game and turn their season. And I'm not, listen, it's a little dramatic to put it in this phrasing, but I think they can turn their season back around with a big win against the Rangers.
Yeah, because they're already right there, as we documented. You're in wild card spot numero dos, so it's like right there for you. But now you got to win these big games. And again, I'm all systems go for Saturday on that side, so I'm very excited. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I think we're going to be covering more Flames games down the stretch just because of the opponents that are in front of them. So you and I will have a lot to talk about. Look, let's just be honest. The Wings are in the middle of a 5-game road stand. This trip across Canada, they just went undefeated. They went 3-0. And now they got to go back into Washington for a couple of games in between the Seattle Kraken, which will be a half hour from that on Saturday from the Rangers and the Flames. And then you got to play the Washington Capitals with or without Ovechkin, and then Tampa Bay. So there's some big games for both of these teams coming up. And as you said, especially, I'll take the back half of it with the Red Wings. There should be belief in that locker room. Well, I don't care what people are saying as far as, oh, you're not playing some of the best teams. Red Wings are starting to put some goals in the back of the net, which has been an incredible problem. And then if you get Vrana back on Saturday, Lucas Raymond's supposed to return to the lineup. All of a sudden, this team is starting to play starting to get healthy. Bill Husso has been standing on his head over the last 5 games. Magnus Hellberg, I'll give him the tip of the cap tonight, although I will say he did what he had to do. Nothing extravagant as far as chances, but he didn't take his team out of the game. With all that said, and the way that Larkin's playing and the rest of this team is playing, I like their chances to maybe get into a playoff spot with having games in hand. Do I know how far they're going to go through the season? No, I don't. But keep this belief alive because this is the best they've played all year. And this is a glimpse of what you thought this Red Wings team could be. And Cooper said this during the trade deadline. He said, the Red Wings would be one of these teams that could take in a playoff spot of one of the teams in the East. Well, it's certainly possible now because you're playing in contention, you're getting healthy, you're playing right at the right time, and you're finishing when you need to finish opportunities.
Yep, you said it, John. I mean, what a great summary. And this is what I really genuinely hope to see moving forward from the Wings. And you're right, Vrana comes back. You have a full complement of healthy players. Again, Bertuzzi looked great. And boy, if Dylan Larkin can keep doing what he's doing, I think all bets are off. Whatever anyone's expectations were of the Wings, high or low. I mean, Dylan Larkin, apparently, he's writing the script himself. He's going to take this team as far as he wants to take them. And he has a bunch of teammates that are fully on board with the journey that he is on. And he is an excellent leader. Any team, I mean, my goodness, the fact there's any discussion about whether or not he'll be extended and re-signed by the Wings, I mean, that should be eliminated as soon as possible. What an exciting player, exciting team, and there's lots to look forward to for both of us. Even though the Flames and the Wings won't face each other again in this regular season, hopefully we're both able to have a little extra excitement as we get to the Stanley Cup playoffs with the Flames and the Wings both there. That'd be pretty fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. And I want to make this point really quickly because I know you got to get out of here too, and then I'll be back on the Saturday part of it. But you're absolutely right with the way that the Wings are playing right now. There was a lot of talk about Tyler Bertuzzi because he needs a contract, and Dylan Larkin, again, he'd have to waive his no-trade clause. With the way this team's playing right now, even if, let's say you didn't get anything for either one of them, I don't think Steve Yzerman can even make a move and take one of these guys out of the lineup right now. It'd be absolutely sacrilege, and I think it would devastate any momentum that you have going on right now if you lose one of them.
Yeah, you're right, and this is what Brad Treliving was saying about the Flames. He wanted to see something really noticeable, wanted to see a push from the squad that is currently on the ice to know whether or not he should be adding or making another decision. What that decision is, we'll find out. It might be standing pat. But you're right. For Stevie Y, I think he is seeing what Brad Treliving was hoping to see from the Flames, a really solid, focused effort from a group that is starting to believe that they deserve to grab a spot in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And then, like we all say, you get that spot, you make some noise, and anything can happen. And I'm excited to watch the future here, the near future of this Wings team.
Yeah, so we don't need to take a live look, and we'll be getting out of here shortly here. It's a 5-0 lead for Seattle over Philadelphia. That is going to be the next Red Wings opponent on Saturday at 10:30 Eastern. I'm going to have the game between the Rangers and the Flames at 10 Eastern. I'm sure Cooper will probably be able to join me for a little bit of that as we'll take a look in between Detroit and Seattle and New York and the Rangers. So very excited to cover those ones. We're going to have a lot going on next week because the NBA is in the All-Star break, so it's going to be all about the NHL. The upcoming opponents for the Flames are rather big. And, hey, I might have to cover some more Red Wings games here if this continues. Maybe it'll be Detroit and Tampa Bay upcoming pretty soon. So we'll have a lot to look forward to, Cooper, and I will talk with you soon.
Yes, sir. Thanks for jumping on. As always, John, it's always a fantastic time, and we will be hopefully back together on Saturday. Of course, we'll be in touch. I'll let you know about that. And thanks as always. Another great game between the Wings and Flames, and we'll keep an eye on both these teams as we move forward.
All right, sounds good. We'll talk to you this weekend.
All right, pal.
So Manny Go Live says, is Andrew Mangiapane in the game? Yeah, he is. He was in this game. He was one of the names, but I think it was Mikael Backlund. He is the one that had the big time as far as effort in this game for the Flames, but it was kind of all Red Wings. They had a chance to get some chances in there deep. They got shots in the slot when most of the shots for the Flames were more outside the circles. Magnus Hellberg didn't have to do a whole heck of a lot. So when we do the game on Saturday between the Rangers and the Flames, that was the best game of the season and that first one last week. So we'll see what goes on Saturday when I'll be back between 10:15 Eastern for puck drop. And I will definitely be in touch with everybody soon. Nick, I'll be in touch with you here shortly. Going to get the game story and everything else all squared away and send you a message. And if we don't get anything going on tonight, it'll probably be Friday or Sunday. But I will see you guys then on Saturday night, about 10:15 Eastern. Peace.